and welcome into a Wednesday edition of Running Points. I'm DJ Yoakley filling in for Ron Potesta. On the other side of the table, well, we've got Super Dave O'Malley. We have the legend himself, Quinn Pushkar, doing God knows what, as is typical. And, of course, the one, the only, Scotty Mincher. Boys, how are we today?
I'm great.
Should be.
Ready to go, man.
Ready to go. Dave, how we doing over there?
Fantastic. Been sitting in that green room for so long. Just excited to get the call.
And DJ, I can't run, but today I felt like, man, I'd run through a wall for you. Somehow I make it happen.
I love it. I love it. And Quinn, how are you doing over there?
Great.
Excitement as usual, just oozing out of your pores.
Always.
What are you drinking?
Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer. Okay. The freebies from the green room.
That one was mine. I brought mine.
Oh, okay. We'll check the receipts later. Today, boys, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the proposal from the OHFCA. We're going to talk about the team from Toronto heading down to the Steel City. Talk about the best logos, or just logos in general. Scotty's got a great article coming out tomorrow about logos and team sensitivity kind of thing. Your favorite logos. And we're also going to talk about best uniforms. This is one I'm really excited because you guys have a lot of great takes on best uniforms across all the major sports. We're going to talk about should Cleveland, the Cleveland Baseball Club, keep the colors in their new kind of voyage, if you will. We're also going to talk about the NBA having over 20 cameras and what technology should other sports implement to give a little bit more creative and a little bit more excitement around their sports and maybe get some more fans as well. And we're going to talk about the popularity of esports. Can we see esports as the future of sports in the country? And of course, we're going to talk about if football and other sports are axed here locally, can baseball and softball save the city or save the day for everybody else? We're going to talk about all that, and of course, we're going to take your calls on the YSN hotline. Give us a call today. Chime in 330-886-0813. That's the YSN hotline. We're looking forward to hearing from you for the next 3 hours, 12 to 3, and then from 3 to 4. Quinn and I doing double duty today, heading over to the Power Hour right outside the studios here at YSN in East Palestine. So, guys, let's stop delaying. Let's stop doing the tap dance. Let's get this thing started. The proposal from the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association, which we kind of printed out for you. We've got a lot to talk about. For those of you who haven't seen this was first reported by WFMJ's own and our partner, Dana Balish, who kind of gave the 38-page rundown. And you can see it all on WFMJ.com. But 38 pages was this proposal, but the highlights are as follows. See if you can follow along. So 2019, the total yards of sideline space, 50 yards. So that's what you see on a typical football field, 50 yards that the players and coaches can utilize. They're going to increase that, or at least the proposal is to increase that to 80 yards. So basically you're going from the 10 to the 10, which would be, I think, a good start. I think it's perfect to be at the top of this. Minutes of full contact per day, you're going from 30 minutes down to 18 minutes in 2020. Social distancing for spectators is a yes. You'll also have social distancing on sidelines by all players. Masks will be worn by all attendees. Seating designed for social distancing. The individual water containers, so no more of the troughs that you see on the sidelines. The PVC pipe with the water running through them. That's out. You're going to have to bring your own Gatorade, your own water, whatever your particular choice is. Symptom checklist for participants will be had. A hand sanitizer available on site. Mandatory stoppage of play. Still a little confused on this one, guys. It goes from 4 with 12 minutes to 8 with 6 minutes. So if there's somebody out there who can kind of, we talked about it on the Power Hour yesterday. Nobody really brought any light to that situation. Maybe like the injury stoppages. Still doesn't, click for me one and one. Temperature taking of all attendees. So that's going to be huge because who's going to be responsible for that? There's a lot of technology goes into it. It's not just a
ear thing.
Thermometer. Yeah, but if you're doing an ear thing and you have a positive test, you basically have to throw away your thermometer.
Yeah,
do you
shut
not?
down the game, right.
So
Maybe you don't want to know.
yeah, it's one of those things where it gets a little crazy. I mean, there's a lot of good ideas here, but the execution is still a question mark for me. Where else do we have here? Isolation room. I guess I understand that one. That's a yes. Coaches will wear masks on the sidelines. The players will report to practice at staggered times. The halftime length goes from 20 minutes to 12 minutes. Social distancing in the locker rooms probably can be done in the home locker rooms. The visiting locker room is going to be a little difficult because those are usually shoe boxes sometimes because you want to take care of your kids first, and then whatever you have left over usually goes to the visitors. Sanitation of equipment each day is a hard yes. Social distancing guidelines for all bus trips is a yes as well. Periods of no more than 9 minutes in pods for practice will be part of this. CDC guidelines for all meetings and film sessions will also be a part of this. And the last two scrimmages are limited to only 2 teams. And then the limit of number of non-essential personnel on the sideline will be enforced as well. So, guys, when you look at this, you've had this for a little bit now and to kind of noodle over it. What are some of the takeaways that you have from this proposal that good, bad, and different? Dave, we'll start with you.
First of all, is it periods of no more than 9 minutes in pads for practice or pods?
Pods.
What is a pod?
So it's Quinn. You could probably explain this a little better. Is kind of
you.
Yeah, seriously. So pods are like groups. It's basically groups. It's a fancy word for groups.
Okay.
So they're gonna. The way I took it is they're gonna bring in, probably do it positionally. So like your DBs will come in, your state and all that, and then linebackers and line and all that stuff. I don't think that's gonna work at all, to be honest with you. I really don't.
What do you see the biggest challenge?
Small schools like Palestine or Sebring. Like Sebring yesterday, he said he had 30 kids.
Yeah, 31 was their high
Half
mark.
of them are going to play at both sides of the ball.
Yep.
At that point, you're just going to have a
break
full
them up?
practice. Yeah, you're just going to have
can't break
practice
them up,
because
right.
you're going to be there the whole time. So it's not going to matter.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you look at this, and I think, again, a lot of this is for big schools, right? The OHSAA, the OHSFCA looks at big schools and they go, okay, this is where we start, and then we funnel down off of that. You kind of branch off. When you do this, this is the suggestion. This is what they're looking to do. The execution on some of these is going to be difficult. Like the last one, limit the number of non-essential personnel on the sideline. Did we not learn anything from labeling people as essential and non-essential like 4 months ago?
Right.
What does it take to be an essential sideline person in high school football?
Direct contact with the team.
So
By the way, I couldn't be any less essential. I found that out.
when you said direct contact with the team, in what context?
Well, like from what I learned at YSU, because they had sideline people
Sure.
that weren't supposed to be there. So it's trainers, equipment staff, coaches, players. That's basically it.
So what about media? What about photographers? What about video? You know,
Don't go
like
on the sideline. Stay on whatever the baseline. What's the baseline called? The end line or whatever. Stay by the goalposts.
so if you're a videographer shooting for the 11 o'clock news, the only chance you have is you're shooting at one end of the field. Like you can't get to the end line without going on the sideline.
The alternative is then no sports.
What do you mean no sports?
Follow the rules or there's no sports.
Yeah, I mean I get that, but
Right?
the same
it
at the same
sucks,
token,
but
you
gotta do it.
these schools want the cut, and especially if you're only going to have 50% capacity, like you're going to need the media more now than ever to get the word out and to get these kids highlighted and recruited, so to speak. So I have some questions about some of these. You know, the non-essential personnel being the biggest one. Also the locker room, Scotty. I mean, in a typical locker room, the home team always gets the advantage, a little bit of space, a little bit of home cooking, if you will. And then the visiting locker room is often, you know, sometimes a janitor's closet. It's one of those things that's it's very small, very I guess tight quarters. So I mean, are you going to be able to social distance in a room smaller than the one we're sitting in right now?
Yeah, that's something that I think when you read that and it talks about social distancing in locker rooms. I mean, if guys are packed in there like sardines, DJ, I don't see how you can do it. Like you said, the homeschools, they get the benefit of the doubt in those locker rooms.
Well, they built the stadium, or they built the locker room, so they should.
Limiting the halftime from 20 to 12 minutes.
Yeah. So there's with that, Dave. There's a little bit of, I think, more to it. So what I'm hearing, and I don't know this to be the truth, but the rumors that are floating around is that the band won't travel. So you're only going to have one band. So a lot of the halftime is due to having 10 minutes for the home band, 10 minutes for the away band, and you don't need it anymore. So you have 12 minutes to fill. The home band does 10 minutes, and then you got 2 minutes extra for, people at the concession stand to go to the, get a hot dog, or people go, take a break, go to the restroom, things of that nature. So that part doesn't bother me because of all the rumors. It actually makes a lot of sense. But I would say and suggest that if that's the way they're going to go, that might be a rule to keep. You know what I mean? That might be a rule because if people are complaining about baseball, in Major League Baseball, taking up their entire evening of sitting down and at their home and watching television and watching baseball, then maybe we can shrink the halftime a little bit, and then it's a 2-hour situation, and you still have.
I love college basketball. It's a 2-hour show.
Yeah, and you move on, right? You still have some of your night left. You can go enjoy it a little bit, maybe celebrate a victory, or kind of lick your wounds a little bit. If and even if you are on the bus, you can still get back at a regular time to where you can, especially the ACT, the standardized testing, typically on a Saturday. So some of these players are out till 11, 12 at night just getting back, and then they've got to get up at 6 o'clock the next day to take a standardized test. So interestingly enough, I think I'm okay with the game being a little bit shorter, a little bit more concise and tidy, if you will. So the best one, I think, is the yards of sideline space, going from 50 to 80. And if you look at
another one here.
Yeah.
The mandatory stoppage. So right now there's 4 3-minute mandatories and it's going to 8 like 45-second.
So that's the way it reads. The mandatory stoppages, it's a total of 12 minutes.
One every quarter for 3 minutes.
Yeah. So what you're getting is, and Eric Bailey chiming in on our social media, you can too at Facebook. As stoppages are equivalent to, quote, TV timeouts, to his understanding. It would be like mandatory stoppage play to allow teams take a break and distance themselves from one another.
Pinsky can get some nachos or whatever.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you, in the media business, we got to make sure that we can still pay the bills, right? So you need those mandatory TV timeouts. College, in the NCAA, it's already in there. And if you're doing it, you're going to see a guy with orange gloves on the sidelines, call for timeouts, and when they can go and resume play. So I think that's what we're looking at. So if that's the case, I'm okay with it. But usually, and few and far between. Like, we don't have TV stoppages for YSN. We just flow with the game. We don't try to interrupt if we can help it. And then naturally, if there is a TV network there, they do have those. So the most cases, you're not going to see that come to fruition, which I'm okay with. But injuries are injuries. I mean, it depends on the severity of an injury for a stoppage. So if a kid snaps his leg in half, heaven forbid, it's going to take a little bit longer than if he's got a cramp. So let's. There's a lot to digest here.
These are geared for fans too. Give them 3 minutes a quarter if they want to run in the bathroom real quick.
Exactly.
Without fans,
But that's the thing, and we're still up in the air about how many fans are. We see that masks will be worn by all attendees, and
what's the average attendance for a high school football game?
It depends on where you're at.
I'm not talking Mooney or Slim.
No, I mean, you're talking. I mean, if you're talking about Massillon,
Petersburg.
Yeah, if you're talking about Massillon, you're at 20,000. Okay. If you're talking about East Palestine, you're at 1,500. It depends on the year. It's one of those things where you just hope that everybody's on the same page. And right now, as we talked about on the Power Hour yesterday, the world's a little bit cut in half because you got the people that want to wear masks all the time and the people that don't. And the sacrifice that you have to have for sports, Quinn, as you talked about a little bit, is you're going to have to wear a mask to go to a sporting event now.
Right.
At least in the short term. The long term, who knows? I hope this is not something that continues. I hope we can not only flatten the curve, but flatten this entire virus, and the world goes back to at least a little bit of normalcy.
I think these stadiums should have mask day.
DJ,
hand out masks.
I wanted to chime in. I honestly don't think it's that big of a sacrifice in the grand scheme of things. Like if we were guaranteed tickets to go to NFL or say the NBA, if I got tickets to some game where they were playing at, but I had to wear a mask, like I'd do it in a heartbeat. I don't think if it's a thing that's required and they say you have to wear one, I don't really see it as a big deal. Now, like in places where it's not enforced and you could get away with not wearing one like we are right now, like I'd rather not wear one, but I'm saying like I don't get why there's just like such a division. I mean, I do get it because people like this has gone on for months now. Like people in this country, they're tired of it. They don't want to be told they have to wear a mask in America. So I get it to a certain extent, but in life you always have to sacrifice something if you want to reach your certain lofty goals. You know what I mean? And that's what I never really saw as wearing a mask is a big deal, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, I can agree with you on a lot of those points, Scotty. But I think this too. If you think about masks, right? A lot of it right now is about the uncomfortability of wearing a mask in 90+ degree weather, right? It's very hot. You're breathing in your own oxygen. You know what I mean? You're just recycling it. Siri's popping off. I don't know where she's popping off from, but she's somewhere. That might have been me. Yeah, no, she's not supposed to be. Oh, it is. It's me. It is me. So, when you look at as the weather gets colder, right? I think the opportunity of masks and the hang up on masks is going to go away a little bit because most people will wear masks in snow and cold weather and to cover their face to keep it warmer. And I think everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, most people will be okay with that.
It's
so
an issue of timing then. If this COVID would have came in late fall, it would have been fine.
Yeah, and I think that it would have messed us up a little bit, from the winter perspective because we'd be talking about no basketball, which is a revenue generating sport. But that thing that
God, I missed the NBA playoffs this year. Oof.
Do you missed it?
I missed it.
Honestly? That makes
know
two of
what?
you.
I love me some NBA playoffs, but because the Cavs were just so bad at the time the NBA shut down, I needed that break from the NBA. But now I'm I can get down on.
Well, yeah,
some NBA
you
playoffs.
you have a little bit of a taste for it now, right? Because now everybody's got a chance at this thing all over again.
This
But
virus is affecting none of our favorite teams.
It's something I was thinking of. Do you guys think there's a chance that people, maybe not every day, like in countries, like in places like China and Japan, but do you think that there's a chance, especially when people are sick now, that masks could become the new normal down the line? If they have any sort of cold or anything like that, you could see people maybe wearing masks to work.
Well, I think it already has. I mean, you look at people that have really bad immune systems, and they typically will wear masks around, so they don't get sick, and they have a fighting chance, so to speak. I mean, people that are recovering from cancer, and people that are have.
We've had a few customers that died anyway. So manager there that wore masks before this even happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of it. There was already a lot of it. They were kind of alarming. Like when you saw them, you didn't understand why, but you accepted it. And now it's more readily acceptable. If you see, I see people wearing masks literally all the time. You see people wearing masks, and you just go, you don't even think anything of it. You just think, okay, they're protecting themselves. When this first came out, and Dr. Fauci said the masks are ridiculous, you're not gonna. I think everybody kind of looked at people wearing masks and were like, okay, overkill. But now that masks are essential, our president's wearing a mask, everybody that, when they're out and about, they're wearing masks, and you go, okay, they're just doing what is right. You know what I mean? There's a difference between, and I'm not going to get into politics with this, but there's a difference between protecting yourself, protecting others, and just being defiant sometimes.
Right.
It's one of the.
I'm just complying with society. I
Yeah.
don't really have a stand.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think when you have,
I approach every situation with my mask. If they're not wearing it,
then you can you go as you will, right? When the option's available, the majority of us will probably take off our mask. That's just
you
how.
can't see me being a trendsetter. I put my mask on, everybody following me.
No, I'm not. I mean, listen, we see it right now. Like, I don't have my mask on. This is home base for us. It's a situation where we, it's well known right now. The reason we're doing this show is because Ron came down with symptoms, and we, poor Quinn and I, were in here scrubbing all day yesterday, making sure that this place is as tidy can get. I mean, I think we scrubbed crevices of this place that haven't been scrubbed for decades, to make sure that everything was set up and ready to go. Now, obviously, we want to take first precaution and firstly say, prayers and hope to Ron, because he did have his test yesterday for COVID. Hopefully that comes back negative and he's back on the air sooner than later. But the argument is, if you're sick, you're sick. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's COVID or just a regular flu or some type of flu. If you're sick, you're sick. That's just how it goes. So Ron, the earliest he'll be back on YSN is 2 Wednesdays from now. And that's with a negative test.
We get the call back next week, buddy.
Yeah, you guys, as long as everything goes well, you don't drop any F-bombs, then we're okay. Don't nuke us here, Scotty.
All right, well, like I said,
I'm going to even refer to them as the Washington R words.
Maybe a couple S-bombs you might hear, but F, I'll leave F out of it. But DJ, one thing I wanted to pick your brain on just for a second
Sure.
here, as far as the football, the new guidelines that the OHSAA came out with, the new proposal. As far as, I'm kind of confused. You said you guess you get it, but as far as the isolation room, we were talking about how it's going to be hard to social distance in the visitors' locker room.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, with this on here, I don't really know what the full meaning of it means. Do you think they could send more people to this isolation room?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Scotty, it basically breaks down to, if there's a positive test, they're ISOing somebody. You know what I mean? And Quinn went through this with EB and the entire AAU organization out in Indianapolis. Is that basically what it is? If you get a positive test, you just roll them right into that room till you can have further evaluations, or what is that?
So we did it all by temperature, and it's like a little gun thing. It's
Yeah.
like the baseball pitching gun.
Yep.
It's the same concept. So if you're over, I think it was it's like 101 degrees or something like that, you get pushed into like a little room, which is kind of weird. Yeah. So it's kind of weird because it's like if 5 people test positive, you're shoving 5 people into the same room. So like it's weird.
Not really.
Yeah, I don't think it's doing anything. Like
Did the
it's
test
just
come back,
weird.
if the person in front of you gets tested positive, the person behind sees it?
No, because it's like it'd be like this, and I'm just pointing it at you. It's weird.
Good use of a microphone. That's the best use of a
yeah.
microphone you've had in months.
Hey, I'm trying. But so like we see the temperature or whatever, and then like you just kind of get pushed off to the side and like come back in 5 minutes or whatever. And if temperature lowers, then good, because it's just taking your temperature. And a lot of the times,
Does that happen?
Yeah, but I mean, you're in a long line, and it's like wrapped outside the building to get in, because we're taking temperatures of a ton of people. So you're like standing outside in the heat, and I mean,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
my
Okay,
temperature
gotcha.
is, yeah, if I stand in the sun, like I'm gonna get hot. Like it's just
Yeah,
how
I
it
mean,
is.
it's the old trick where you put the thermometer
Yeah.
under a lamp, and then you put it in your mouth, and then it's 110 degrees, and your mom thinks you're dying.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about that, but
So yeah, so like you're stuck in that situation, and then you push them into a room, and if they come back 5 minutes later and they're 97, it's like, well, you were just in the sun. So it kind of makes sense.
gotcha. But 101's the magic number?
Yeah, it was like 101 or something like that on the gun, and it'll change like color. So like it'll go green, yellow, and red. I'm assuming. I've never had a red.
Are these specific for COVID, or just regular
They're just temperature.
thermometers?
Yeah, they're just regular thermometers.
Okay, well, that's
So
really
If
interesting.
you don't have a temperature, you don't have COVID.
I guess, yeah.
And that's across the board. That's been the thing. But yet these COVID tests, and this is it's not G. Berbick. I mean, we have G. Berbick Firms as a sponsor, but that's not my beef. But my real, I don't understand this, and maybe somebody could help me out. You can tell me where my ancestors are from a swab of my mouth, but you have to literally touch my brain through my nose to tell me if I have COVID right now. How does that work?
I hear the tests are pretty painful.
Yeah, I mean they stick
invasive.
they stick it up your nose till they touch your brain almost. So my thing is, there's got to be a better way to do it. And if temperatures is the first barrier, let's go. Let's start there and then move forward. But like again, if you can tell me that my family is English and they came over here in 1923, why can't we have a better test for COVID?
And not just that, do they really even know, like, all the people that get tested, like, are these tests, like, how accurate are they? Are they, I mean, I just don't know.
I'm going to lean on the fact that there is so many things that we do not know about this virus that it's just kind of playing it by ear. And we've been playing it by ear for 4 months now. So
Both sides seem to be experts. It's weird.
what's that?
Both sides seem to be experts, though.
Well, and that's the other thing. I'm going to put this out on, since we're out on social media. I will highly recommend that people start listening to doctors as opposed to their friends who couldn't graduate in 9th grade science class that are giving them tips on what to do for COVID. Probably not the answers you're looking for. They might be smart and they might be well aware of their situation, but let's just think that, Terry that lights off fireworks out of his Roman candles out of his bare hand probably doesn't have your best interests in mind when it boils down to science and a pandemic. So let's just put that in perspective for a moment, guys, before we.
tip.
Yeah, it's. I'm so tired of seeing that people that have no business giving thoughts. I mean, the thoughts I don't mind. The opinions I don't mind. It's when they take it as almost biblical and they say, here it is. This is what it's supposed to be. Not a doctor, not a nurse, probably hasn't studied any type of anatomy or science in the last 2 decades. But yet here they are. But they're also the same people that can tell you what stocks in the stock market to pick and obviously what political party to affiliate with. So,
And to your point, DJ, I told you my dad's a pharmacist.
sure.
So he has that medical background. He knows an awful lot about medicine. But even for him, like this COVID-19, this virus, there's so much he says. He's like, I don't know. I don't have any idea. Like, and he's in the medical profession. So
Can we also just put it on pedestal here that your dad is the coolest dude on the face of the earth? Like, cooler than the other side of the pillow, as Stuart Scott would say.
Cool to a fault, though, isn't
He no,
The
he
temperature
is.
dropped in the room when he walked in.
Oh, when he rolled in here, I was just like, wow, whoa, okay.
I started singing songs from Frozen.
He was so cool. Like, your dad is a cool dude. Like, he's the kind of guy that, they always, this whole thing, everything you see here was built on the fact that I was the kind of guy that you want to have a beer with and not the guy you want to have in your living room. But I will tell you this, your dad's the kind of guy that you want to go out and just enjoy the night with, because you'll find yourself in some situations you'll be able to tell stories to your grandkids. I just have that feeling.
yeah, for sure, he's definitely he's a character. That's
He does
for
have
sure.
access to a lot of
But
meds.
he's just he does find a way to keep it cool. And sometimes I wonder, man, like, how are you so cool?
Cool Daddy Mincher.
Yeah.
Again, the proposal from the OHSFCA, Ohio High School Football Coaches Association. You can find the entire document on WFMJ.com. A great job by our friends and partners over at WFMJ. Dana scooping that as he typically does, without reliable sources, so to speak, does it on his own. So love having that affiliation, and again, just a dynamite job by WFMJ getting that proposal. It's 38 pages, well worth the read if you've got some time, and a lot of us do nowadays. Make sure you zoom through that, but the highlights are also on Twitter. Dana was able to do that, and if you're looking for the page that we have, we can make it available on our social media page as well. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about one of my favorite stories right now. The Toronto Blue Jays are coming to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got some baseball to cheer about this summer. I'm excited for that. Are you? We'll find out in just a little bit. You are watching Running Point on YSN.
21
Good evening,
News.
and thank you for joining us.
Let's get right to our top
More
story
experienced reporters
A new Wilmington
At
restaurant.
GM Lordstown,
telling more local stories
We'll look at
Baby
efforts
boy
to
is
curb
recovering from a broken.
around our
Good
valley.
Community in
afternoon.
Niles,
We are
one
here in
Triangle Valley
Youngstown,
business.
right up.
Because you expect
Important for everyone. No place like home.
more local news.
in Mercer County
Before
Court.
they become life-threatening.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends, shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring, and, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Running Point. DJ Yoakley with you on this side of the table. And on the other side, it's my good friends, Dave. It is Quinn on the other side. And we always introduce Scotty last because he's the main eventer. Scotty Mincher right in the middle. Guys, what started as, I would say, a pipe dream and a rumor has now turned into what I'm thinking is 99% reality. And as a baseball fan, I'm excited. But as a Pittsburgh sports fan, I am elated because the Toronto Blue Jays, the youngest, probably most dynamic and talented, I dare to say, team in the major leagues, is going to be making their home right here in the Steel City in just a moment's time. And I got to be honest with you, I caught a whole bunch of hell yesterday from my friends on the Power Hour, and I don't care. I don't care. I'm at that point now where I just don't care who thinks it's cool, who doesn't. Paul Munson, not to name any names, wants to give me all kinds of grief about it, but I'll say this. When Pittsburgh has baseball, it is an exciting place to be. I mean, I think we all saw that when the Pirates made their run in the wild card, when they had the blackout in PNC Park. The only difference, and I know people are yelling at me right now, there's no fans. So we're not actually going to be able to go see them as of yet. However, the Pittsburgh Blue Jays gear is already on the street in Pittsburgh, and you bet your ass that I've already got an order. So I'm already all over it. I got a Blue Jays hat. I'm ready to go. Your feelings as if this happens, and it's a 99% chance, the Blue Jays coming to Pittsburgh. Are you in on this? Like, are you excited at all? Do you think it's a complete travesty? What are your thoughts, Dave? We'll start with you.
Well, first of all, congratulations to PNC Park for getting a team that's going to play some good baseball. And the American League, I'm all for it. I'm not a Pirates fan, but I do like them, but that's not my number team. But American League and National League in the same park is great, I think.
I love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. Scotty, I know
If they brought the Phillies in, I would have had a problem.
Yeah, that was my point yesterday. Like,
Right.
if it's two different leagues I'm in.
Different countries.
Because I think Pittsburgh can now, 2 different countries. Pittsburgh can now root for a team and not feel bad about it. Like I was asked, well, if the Browns played in Heinz Field, that's different. You play them twice a year, it's different. It's like, no, you can't do it. No, just not good. Scotty, your take on because this is going to lead to another question in just a few minutes. Your take on the Blue Jays coming to Pittsburgh?
Well, first of all, I gotta say, Dave, you said Pittsburgh's gonna actually get a quality team, which is a point in itself. That could be a good point, but they also have to play in a division with the loaded Yankees and the Tampa Bay. The Rays are loaded too.
It's too bad they can get the Pirates' schedule.
It's gonna be tough sledding. Not that the Blue Jays can't make it happen. Anything can happen in this condensed season. But anyway, my thoughts on it, DJ. It's all well and good. You can root for the Blue Jays, but my feeling is you root for the Blue Jays this year, you have to scrap the Pirates and adopt them as your team. So you either don't root for the Blue Jays this year and still like the Pirates, or totally scrap Pirates. If the Pirates did win this World Series, I know you think that idea in itself is crazy, but hear me out. It's 60 games. Players could get hot. Fluke things could happen. If the Pirates would win this World Series this year, you're not allowed to celebrate, man.
Well, here's and that's the argument that I've heard. Screw off, Quinn.
They're going to send the Pirates to Toronto and keep the Blue Jays.
Well, here's the thing.
I would sign up for that in a second.
They're going to swap teams and just send the Pirates to
Toronto. I don't think there's anybody that would stop that.
No.
But here's what people are missing is this is the biggest conundrum as a Pittsburgh fan, because our Penguins are going to be playing in Toronto. That is going to be their hub. That's their home games. And now we get the Blue Jays. So now Toronto is cheering for Sidney Crosby and adopting him and the Penguins as their team. And we get Vlad Jr., Bichette, we get Biggio, we get all these guys who we might have a fighting chance. Now the reason, and I hate
He's already claimed them.
I hate to be the guy that always says, not always, because I'm usually optimistic on the Pirates. I'm usually, first game of the season, we're going 162-0. That guy.
Well, they haven't. They're usually competitive early on.
Correct. However, they always or typically, usually have their number 1 and 2 starters coming out in the rotation. They lost Chris Archer. They lost J-Mo. They're toast. They're toast. You can't win a World Series. I don't care if it's 10 games. You can't go and compete with half of your starting rotation. It just doesn't. When you need baseball needs pitching. That's how it goes.
Was Chris Archer really that good anyway, though? Right?
Relative to the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean,
compared to the rest of them,
when you look at it, listen, we're not winning any Cy Youngs anytime soon, okay? But Chris
When
Archer,
was the last closest Cy Young winner in Pittsburgh?
Burnett.
It had to
he
be.
wasn't close to a Cy Young.
Perez?
Garrett Cole was.
I was
That's
gonna
what
say
I'm
it had to be Cole.
And he wasn't even that close.
Doug Drabeck.
He won, didn't he?
He probably.
I think he won.
Probably the
So
last one to win it.
yeah, and you're talking the '90s. So I mean, there's been some good pitchers, but the problem is a team like the Pirates, they either have a really good pitcher, like 1 out of 5, and there's a huge drop off, or you have
And they're not keeping that
offense.
pitcher.
Yeah, and that's the thing in the National League. It's so hard to keep offense because they want to go over and be DHs. They want to go and be one-dimensional and not have to worry about gloving and working half the workload. And this is the argument that I always have with everybody about DHs is it's not good for actual baseball. It's just not. Pitchers should have to hit. You'd have to – I mean, that's just how it goes. The universal DH, you and I have talked about it, it's the worst thing that can happen to baseball. Besides the fact that everybody loves offense, the 57-year-old average fan loves pitching. And there's still an element to having a National League and an American League and having different rules that I enjoy. I really do. And that's speaking as someone who loves offense but also loves strategy. I think there's no strategy when you send 9 guys to the plate that can hit the ball 400 feet. That's just, there's no strategy to it.
That's why, was Hargrove a great manager for the 95 Indians? I could have managed that team.
Yeah. That's it. That's just what it is. You know,
I have one more thing to say about the Blue Jays. In 5 years, I'm going to be wearing the winningest team in PNC Park since 2020 is the Toronto Blue Jays shirt.
Oh, is that a knock on my shirt?
Your Roethlisberger shirt.
Yep. I see how it is.
It's an homage.
I'm not saying that the Pirates won't ever get back to where they should be, but that first time we were all talking about the window of Andrew McCutchen and Neil Walker and da-da-da. There's not another one of those coming. Like, there's just not.
That's their farm system.
That's it. I mean, it's not great. I'll be honest. It's not great. But with Ben Cherington at the helm, and this is what's interesting, is Ben Cherington was the GM of the Toronto Blue Jays. Now he gets a front row seat, literally, to watch the team he assembled. Oh, by the way, he's now the GM of the Pirates. So for me, why I'm so excited about this, Blue Jays winning aside, is I think you're going to see a lot more transactions between the Pirates and the Blue Jays. And because, and let's just put it out there, PNC Park's the best ballpark in the entire league, in America, you name it, right? If you get accustomed to that, you have a little bit of success there, you start calling that place home, can you imagine the Pirates with Vlad Jr.? Can you imagine the Pirates with Bichette? Some of the young talent that you have? Because guess what? Sometimes it does matter where you play. And Vladdy, he likes to potty. He's going to hit some bombs in PNC Park this year, and it is going to feel good. Even though there's nobody cheering him except anybody on their MLB app, there's going to be a home feeling, home cooking for Vlad, I think. He's going to have the biggest year he's ever had, and he's going to do it at PNC Park. I'm all in.
He'll do it for a year at PNC Park, but the Pirates would never be, like, they're never, much like the Indians, very rarely are they in play for big-time superstars.
Well, here's the thing. Vlad's on his first contract, right?
So he's going to want money. He's going to want a ton.
He's not even eligible. Yeah, he has to stay.
We all know
Lindor. For a
Lindor.
trade, though.
It's just like Lindor. You know it's a even if the Indians don't trade him after next year, he's gone. There's no chance they re-sign him. Absolutely.
And if
not.
you and I know that, Scotty, this is what's really, really bad about the situation that the Indians are in with Lindor. If you and I know that, and Dave knows that, and Quinn knows that, then every GM in the world knows that, and the value goes down. Because you go, well, you can hang on to him as long as you want, but you're not going to get anything back. And the Indians have to get something back for Francisco Lindor. You have to.
Yeah,
you have to.
Their leverage is a little limited.
You are back against the wall, and guess what? You're going to get like a box of shoes and some sandals and maybe a fedora.
I think they could still, if they trade him this offseason, DJ, I think they would still be able to get, I don't know if they'll get like an amazing deal, like some of the best prospects in the game of baseball, but you could get a couple top 15, top 20 prospects.
But their best opportunity, I think we can both agree, their best opportunity was this past offseason. Mm-hmm. You still have 2 years of control on a player, and that's the magic number for GMs. When you look at it, okay, they're willing to go. If they've got a full year, they can always trade him again at the next deadline to be able to get something else back for him, right? If they know they're not in contention for a championship, the Indians, either there was nothing out there or they feel like they're a contender this year, which they very well could be, but they also unloaded. There's two-time Cy Young winning pitcher that had arm troubles. I get it, and now you're up against
I think that was a good move.
An 80-game suspension with the guy that you got for him. You know, the young bullet thrower out of the bullpen. You look at this and you go.
Delino DeShields Jr. is,
congratulations on that one, by the way. That was a real Pirates move.
Yeah. I mean, come on. My numbers maybe would be comparable to Delano's Shields Jr.
And you could probably drop a bunt better than he can right now as well. So
You probably hit better. I don't know about
Well,
stealing
nobody
bags,
can bunt anymore. It's like a lost start.
it is a lost start. Scotty, would you be okay with another team coming into your stadium, and would you root for that team?
I don't think I would hate on the team.
Name a team
But
that you would
I
come
would
into
never adopt like that team as
That's-
like my team. I would stay with what I think sooner is gonna be the Spiders. I'd stay with that organization, not another. I wouldn't go to another franchise.
Quinn, your thoughts on this? I mean, we got your Dynamite, I don't care, yesterday. What are your thoughts on it? Another team comes into your dojo. Are you bound to the sensei?
No. But I take it as other sports because I don't care about baseball, as you know. But like if another team came into the NBA, I mean, I wouldn't bail on the Cavs, but I mean, it'd be better than watching the Cavs. I would admit that.
So if the Raptors came in, they had Kawhi Leonard still, and they played in Cleveland, would you root for them?
No, I wouldn't root for them. I'd watch them still. I'd
I would
still
act
probably
as
go
if
to
it
games.
was a Cleveland team winning a championship.
That's it, and that's it. I mean, it's a local. Like, I think Pittsburgh's going to adopt the Blue Jays.
Because
I
these
really
players
do.
aren't from any city.
No.
As long as they're playing in your city, they're your team.
That's my thing.
I'm coming along.
If
Until they
I'm
start winning,
if
they start
I'm
doing better.
if
then
I'm
it's-
Toronto, like your government said, you're not playing here. Okay, so here we are in Pittsburgh with arms wide open. You know what I mean? Like the Creed song says, we're sitting here. And funny enough, Creed is from Canada. So we're sitting here with arms wide open, and we're saying, hey, come on in. The water's warm here. You've got the best ballpark in baseball to play in. And oh, by the way, you can get some fans here. And I think
But-
that's what they're seeing.
To me, it's still like there's something to be said for the diehard. To me, it still feels like a little bit of bandwagon DJ because
It is. It's like all the guys that like
you
LeBron and left.
You know on paper that the Blue Jays are better than the Pirates and have a lot more potential.
Sure.
So it's just I don't know. I just don't like the feeling of it. Like using the NFL as an example.
Okay.
And the Browns they've been absolute hot garbage for the last
That's being nice.
20 years. Yes, that's being nice. But I can never imagine another team coming into Cleveland and just adopting that team when I'm a season ticket holder and I've rooted for the Browns my entire life.
So you and I had a little off topic conversation. I guess it was on topic, but it was off microphone conversation. If the Dallas Cowboys came to Cleveland because Jerry's World for some reason was not suitable, and the only place that they could come is Cleveland, Ohio, you're telling me that you wouldn't buy a shirt and support an orange star in the middle of your chest and say America's team is now located in Cleveland, Ohio?
I mean, I might buy a shirt.
Oh, but you're
Rather-
supporting the team.
But
He's a salesman. Don't let him do it.
But DJ, listen to me. Listen to me.
Loading the gun.
This isn't copying out because how many hats do you have? 100, over 100.
correct.
It doesn't mean you're gonna root for every one of those teams.
He's not supporting the
It's
teams
just
when he buys those hats,
It's
though.
just like that with
You're
T-shirts.
supporting a company.
Well, I mean, you're supporting a team. I mean, the money ultimately will go to the team because they bought those hats and then they push it off on you.
30%, yes.
Yeah, so you're supporting those teams. Now, for me, it's I see where you're. I
you know where I'm
just
going.
got it.
Yeah.
But the reality is, as I told Paul Munson last night, as I was arguing my point offline, it's for me, it's all about supporting the game, right? I have an Indians hat. I have I think 20 out of the 30 teams, as a matter of fact, in baseball. So when you look at it, I could wear any hat and support any team. I wanted to wear my Blue Jays hat, and I absolutely forgot it today. So that was the staple.
We're the Baird brothers.
So I went with our fine sponsor, the Baird Brothers, Fine Hardwoods. You can visit them on the web at bairdbrothers.com. And yeah, we got G. Burbick Farms back there, gburbickfarms.com. Hey, it's not below me, man. They've helped us an immense amount. But I will say this, Scotty. If the Cowboys were to play in Cleveland, you wouldn't be on the first bandwagon, but you should be on the duck boat somewhere behind it. Correct or incorrect?
That's incorrect.
That's incorrect.
I think you'd be on it. If they were in the Super Bowl and it was the Cleveland Cowboys against the San Francisco 49ers, you're a Cleveland guy first. I'm going to tell you that right now. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm also a Youngstown guy. The 49ers have connections in Youngstown.
Okay, so it's
spun it around.
And that was a nice spin. So it's the Cleveland Browns, the Cleveland Cowboys against.
No, you said Niners. You can't be.
But who are you rooting for in that?
I root for
neither.
For just a good game.
If you had two choices, obviously you're gonna take the Browns, the Cleveland team.
Yeah, you take the Cleveland team. I mean, that's just how it goes. Listen, I'm not going to go out and buy season tickets to the Toronto Blue Jays. Okay, that just won't happen. But they're playing in PNC Park, which is known for Pittsburgh, right? I'm rooting for the Pittsburgh team. And if someone comes in and they are all in on Pittsburgh, which I gotta believe the Blue Jays are all. They're just happy.
They live in Pittsburgh, right?
They're happy someone in this country likes them right at this point because they were Canada's team, and now they sit there. We have a good team in Pittsburgh that's playing baseball. I'm going to support them. I'm going to support good baseball being played in Pittsburgh. The same way that all these Pirate fans came.
Let me ask you this: you say you're going to support them, and you're on the bandwagon.
I'm driving it, by the way.
I'm driving.
Yeah, you're driving the bus. Okay. Let me ask you this: if the Blue Jays playing in Pittsburgh, because to me, if you say yes, I think you're lying. But if the Blue Jays, if the Blue Jays play in Pittsburgh this year, they win the World Series, the 60. And they're representing Pittsburgh. You're telling me it would feel just as good to you as if the Pirates.
You'd go to that parade.
won.
I would go to the parade, 100%. I think as long as COVID details suggest that we can have a parade. But I would, yeah, no for your first question.
Yes.
But also, in our society now, it's been okay because I've heard this, and it drives me nuts, quite honestly. But it's different when you have two teams in one city, right? So if it was the Pittsburgh Blue Jays and the Pittsburgh Pirates and they were in different leagues, I'm all in. Like, I don't think you have to pick, right? If it's Los Angeles Chargers and the Los Angeles, what the hell were they? The
White
Raiders?
Sox fans aren't Cubs fans.
Yeah, that's.
Well, yeah, it's like New York too. I mean,
Yeah,
but they
New
don't
York
play.
has
fans don't like the Yankees.
They don't play in the same stadium though.
And they don't hate each
There's
other
no
anymore.
cross-branding.
That's my thing. They don't hate each other. But
Well,
the
yeah,
Los
when
Angeles.
you win
But listen,
900 World
why,
Series,
but
who
if you're the
cares about the Mets?
Chargers and the Rams are going to play in the same stadium, why can't you be a fan of both?
Because they both stink.
Yeah, you can go to 16 games.
That's what I'm saying. So you do that. Like, what's the issue there? They're not in the same league. Typically, they won't play each other, right?
It's a rental. You're renting it. It's like renting a movie.
But let's say
But your loyalty is to the city.
Yeah, loyalty is to the city, not necessarily to the team.
So then, if the Browns came to Pittsburgh
I didn't start liking the
and the
Ravens. when
Steelers
they moved.
disappeared, you'd be a Browns fan then? Pittsburgh Browns? Because it's Pittsburgh.
Sure. If there's no more Pittsburgh Steelers and the Browns move to Pittsburgh,
You couldn't do that.
what do you mean I couldn't? I just told you I could.
You couldn't go through all that losing.
You realize I'm a Pirates fan. That's the entire reason we're having a
Nobody
discussion
cares
right
about
now.
the Pirates.
No.
I'm sold. I'm telling you, I'm
Baltimore
sold. They're
embraced
going
the
to
Browns
keep
and
the
they
Blue
moved.
Jays, and the Pirates are going up to Toronto.
And it is not to say that what the Pirates have gone through isn't bad, but the Browns.
Oh, here we go.
it's-
You're
listen to me,
you guys are the
DJ.
champion of all
We are.
sadness.
We're the champions of losing.
It doesn't compare because
It's
in the
an
NFL, teams are. It's the way it's set up. Is it set up for parity and for teams
Correct.
to turn around in 1 year? They could go from 4-12 in the cellar to 12-4 and win the division. It's so set up for parity, and the Browns have still found a way to be
We turn around. We win
totally
the first game, and then we turn back around.
incompetent and not have one winning season in the last 13 years. Baseball, it's not with the financial advantages the big markets have. Yes, there's revenue sharing, and they've added extra wild cards for each league, but it's just not the same. Like, it's way more reasonable for somebody to see the Pirates go through decades of not winning in slumps than to do with the.
But I would
with the
disagree.
Browns.
It all will come down to who and what you draft, right? Number one, and how you develop those players, how your system is panned out. Now, the Browns, I will agree with you. They are the perfect example of Barney Fife, where they shoot themselves in the foot all the time, right? How many quarterbacks have they had? Like, the Browns should not have a real gun. If you've seen the other guys, they should have the wooden gun. Like, they should not be allowed to use a real weapon. That's what they like. The draft picks, like, they should let their GM, like, you have a real GM, right? And then you have the fake GM, the one they put out front, and they go, okay, buddy, little Timmy, go make the draft picks, and then they just look at each other and they go, he's not making this. We're actually going to have a real football organization. You've had a great general manager. Your last general manager was fantastic. And all we heard about, and I'll be honest with you, I represent all of Steelers Nation here when I said there was a part of us that was like, oh, shit, like, this isn't going to be good. And here come the Browns. They're actually making some good picks.
Freddie Kitchens.
And I don't necessarily think that was a him call. I'll be honest with you. I think that was a.
think that was a Dorsey call?
I don't think that was a Dorsey
From
call.
everything I've heard, that was his guy.
I think that there was a little bit of what we see in society now is you hire the guy that listens to you best, that you can keep your thumb on.
That's the Dallas Cowboys mentality.
And that's what they went with. But Cleveland, who naturally turns on their players faster than a WWE house show and someone turns from babyface to heel, is a perfect representation of nothing in Cleveland will. If you win in Cleveland, you'll never hear the end of it, because we've seen. I think the Game 7 of the 2016 Finals has been run about 38,000 times in the last 4 months, because that's all Cleveland has to hang on to, right? And I've also seen the same game. What is it? Game 6 of the World Series. No, that was Game 7 of the World Series, where Rajay Davis hits the home run. I've seen that 38,000 times, except for it always seems to go out right before the Cubs win the World Series. So it's one of those things where you look at it and you go, what the hell is going on? Like, Cleveland will love a winner, but they also love to hate themselves, right? They love to be the lovable loser. So at some point, the entire fan base of Cleveland has to pick, do you want a winner or do you want to bitch about everything? Because you can't have both. And that's where Pittsburgh, we've had winners, right? To the point of every Cleveland fan ever. And I'll say this, along with that, if you're going to tell us that we should own the fact that our Pirates suck, then you should own the fact that the Browns are absolutely terrible. And if you're going to be the champions of being losers, don't tell us every year that this is your year. You got to pick one. It's got to be one or the other, right? You got to either love to hate your team or love to love your team. And what I get with Browns fans is, I said it yesterday on the show, is they love everybody that plays the Steelers. So I don't understand how naturally all Cleveland fans are hating on Pittsburgh fans for enjoying the Blue Jays. You guys have 31 other teams, 30 teams to choose from every time the Steelers take the field. But we can't root for the Blue Jays? Tell me what's wrong with that. What's not hypocritical about that?
You don't root for whoever's playing the Browns?
No.
No, because you know they're going to win anyway.
Why would you? Yeah.
I
usually bet on them.
It doesn't matter to me. Like go. I hope the Browns are good because the rivalry is back, right? I hope, because it makes the Steelers look better when they beat them 37 times and the quarterback is the all-time winningest in Cleveland history in the last 20 years. That's what I like. I like beating the best. If I'm beating up on my little brother all the time and he's he doesn't have a chance, then it doesn't look as good. It
I
doesn't
will
make
say
us,
this: if Al Lerner Sr. hadn't died 5 years after buying that team, this last 15 years would have went completely different.
Probably.
We were in good position right there with Bush
Completely
Davis, and then when his son took over.
But you know what they say: if my aunt had a wiener, she'd be my uncle. You know, it's one of those things.
Who
Not,
says
not
that? I never
today's
said
society.
that. That's ridiculous. I think Freddie Kitchens would have been a better coach with less talent. I think his play calling was more exciting, but when you put all that talent there, he was in the way of it.
He was in over his head.
Yeah,
He was in
he
way
the,
over
he was
his
the
head.
David Blatt, the same
Yes,
thing. He was handing the
absolutely.
keys with Mercedes.
Although David Blatt's problem was LeBron didn't listen to him, which is a whole different topic.
Which I
That's a
think
whole
there's
different one.
I think there's a little bit of LeBron. And this is another different topic. Is there's a little bit of LeBron in your quarterback right now, and Baker
No.
Mayfield thinks that he.
Ain't nobody on this planet's going to say Baker Mayfield's the best player in the NFL. Or of all time.
I'll
I
take
think
1% of LeBron and Baker Mayfield.
I would too. Trust me,
I would
too.
argue that Baker Mayfield feels that he's the best player in the planet,
I would take LeBron
And
playing
he-
for the Browns.
I
Right
hope he
now.
does think that.
and that's the thing is
But DJ, before last year, it all people flip so easily because before last year, now I would never put him in the same category as a guy like Pat Mahomes, who I think you could argue already is a Hall of Famer.
whoa
He won one Super Bowl, Scotty.
But he
Hall of Famer.
Projection, maybe.
he's
Projected,
he's
I'll give you that.
won a Super Bowl and an NFL MVP already. His first year as a full-time starter, they were D4 jumping off. He should have 2 Super Bowls. It's D4's fault that the Chiefs didn't win another.
So let me ask you this:
So Tom Brady was a play away from being, what, 7 and whatever in the Super Bowl?
if Mahomes hung it up right now and said, "I'm going to go play baseball," you're telling me that he's a Hall of Famer? You're out of your mind.
Why?
In my opinion.
Why?
Because
He came back against the best defense in the NFL, down 10, and he had a bad game in the Super Bowl, and he still won the Super Bowl MVP, and that was a bad game for him.
I think maybe 2 more years.
I think he needs a couple more trophies, Scotty, or a couple more MVPs.
What if he wins one more? Ben's got 2, Eli's got 2. Most
Even if he
people
played
would.
his first year. and
Most
had a decent
people
year.
would say they're Hall of Famers.
I think
so.
there's a-
If he only wins one more,
I think, but
how
that's
do you not put
that's
him
over the
in?
course of a decade or more, right? If they show consistency and they win championships and they show that they are franchise quarterbacks wherever they go, I think that shows that they're a Hall of Famer, right? The same way that Tom Brady, I think, has had enough, and he's going to go to Tampa Bay and say, "It was me. It wasn't the guy that was calling the plays. It wasn't the genius. It wasn't like Podesta will sit here and tell you that it's all Bill Belichick and that Tom Brady is bottom 3rd quarterback in the NFL as it is today." I'm going to sit here and
That's asinine.
I'm going to tell you the opposite. I'm going to tell you Tom Brady is one of the best quarterbacks of our time and could be in the conversation, if he isn't already, for the greatest of all time.
He's got to be up there.
Because, I mean, if Montana, now this goes against the Jordan and all this stuff, but if Montana's the guy, right, because he went to 4
That's
Super Bowls.
Podesta's guy, Montana.
Because he didn't.
This guy's Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
But you're right. Montana is the guy that he says is the greatest of all time. So when you look at this, and I'm not trying to put Ron out there like that, but the argument on the other side,
His own show.
the argument on the other side is that Tom Brady has been to however many AFC championships, Super Bowls,
Don't
and
say this.
I'm just saying.
Start this. You're not going to like this.
What?
This is the same thing about LeBron.
Different.
No.
Different.
No. LeBron's been to more.
No.
This is the same argument you're making
Let,
for Tom Brady.
let me finish my
He
statement.
just didn't win more.
Oh, heaven forbid they win a freaking championship.
Are
Heaven
you gonna
forbid
s-
you don't
so
go
you're gonna
3
say
and 9.
That 4-0 is better than whatever Brady is, because
No.
he's undefeated.
No, I'm saying
Okay.
you have to win more
Thank you.
championships than you don't.
Not necessarily.
Yes, you do. You do.
You got to be the best at your sport.
More than you're not.
Just be the best at what you do.
I don't think LeBron's even favored one
But
final.
to my point
Look at Scotty
about
rounding us up.
Mahomes, I think most people probably listening right now think it's ridiculous, but I think the whole thing about championships equal greatness and all, it's all overrated.
No.
You're telling me.
I'll go with Federer.
You're
He goes by
telling me.
himself.
You're telling me LeBron going to 8 straight NBA Finals.
No, because he's not 6-0, Scotty.
Against an
Doesn't
NBA
matter.
that's way better, bigger, faster, stronger
8
than
straight
what
finals.
Jordan played in.
I gotta
8
ask.
straight Finals. You're telling me that's because he didn't win more of them. It's not impressive.
Let me ask you, what is your definition of the best / greatest?
My definition of
Yeah,
it?
is your
Just say
definition
LeBron.
is your
Just say
definition
LeBron.
is your definition a gold medal or a silver medal?
It's
Like if you're in the Olympics and you go to 8 straight finals meets as a sprinter, right? And you finish silver medal. Let's
Individual
say,
sport, though. I mean,
but listen, here's the thing: LeBron's that great. He makes his teammates better.
Let me ask you, DJ. I gotta ask you, if Michael played the teams LeBron played, would he still be 6-0?
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
He would beat that Warriors team.
the Warriors.
No way.
The
Yeah, I don't see-
Warriors
There's not a
with
chance.
the Warriors
Steve
with
Kerr guard.
Durant, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry would smoke the
shot.
Bulls.
There's
They would
no
wipe
way.
the floor with Jordan's Bulls.
There's no way he's undefeated.
Oh, he
He'd
is.
lose one of them.
No,
Okay.
I stand by him being.
What's the
undefeated.
best Bulls team then that Michael played on? Do you know that? Do you know
90.
that starting five?
It would be the
The documentary.
93 team.
93. You want to go 93? Okay.
Horace Grant?
Match that up with the Warriors team. Who guards Curry?
Probably Michael.
Who guards Durant?
Pippen.
Either Pippen or Grant.
Who guards Klay Thompson?
Pippen or Grant.
Paxton.
Who does Steve Kerr guard? Who does Paxton guard? Who does
Kerr-
Cartwright
Kerr's not on the
Sean
team.
Kerr?
Cartwright. Who does
I mean,
Cartwright guard?
Curry.
They can't match up with him. They can't. Durant would destroy them because he just would.
He's a Slim Reaper.
Yeah. Horace Grant can't guard Durant.
Okay.
Pippen can't guard Durant.
Okay, so my
Michael
thing is
can't guard everybody on the floor.
no, I understand that Michael
They
can't
would
guard
lose.
it. There's no guarantee. Like it is rhetorical. It's hypothetical.
way.
It's hypothetical. You're playing the hypotheticals. Michael and again, this isn't about Michael. This is back to Joe Montana, Pat
Actually, we're
Mahomes.
going back to Pat Mahomes. I got a question for you, Scotty.
When the hell
I'm
did you
taking
become
over.
the host?
I'm taking over right now.
You don't
I
talk
got another.
for.
I had another one.
You don't
My-
talk for 4
my
months and all of a
whole-
sudden you're the coach.
Wait,
Yes.
hold on.
The Admirals
My,
kicked in.
my whole point
the
in this
sugar.
thing, DJ, is people they throw people in the GOAT arguments based on the number of championships they won in appearances, but if you just go by pure talent, the best quarterback to me ever to play, if you just go by pure talent, John Elway.
I'm gonna have to agree with that. I'm gonna have to agree with that.
He only won
he was-
two Super Bowls.
Those 86 and 87 Broncos should have been in a playoff without Elway.
Yeah,
Let alone beat the
those
Browns.
teams were garbage,
Those teams were
and he
garbage.
beat the Browns twice. Took them to the
Over
Super Bowl.
Brady though.
That's my thing, guys.
Over Brady.
Like you said, Pat Mahomes could go like
Elway was Belichick's
who's
coach.
okay. You're
Belichick
saying
knows
right now,
everything.
right now.
No, I'm saying there's a difference though. I'm still saying Brady's the greatest of all time.
Okay,
but
so-
Elway's the most talented of all. That's why I think the things Mahomes
basing it on eye
has
test.
done on the football field are far better than anything that Eli Manning has ever done, and Eli is going to be a Hall of Famer. So why isn't Pat Mahomes already a Hall of Famer?
think Eli's a Hall of Famer?
He should. be.
Eli is a Hall of Famer.
Eli will be a Hall
He
of
beat
Famer.
he beat the greatest of all time. You look at you
Thanks
in
to
the
one
biggest
catch, Tyree should be in the Hall
Oh
of
my
Fame.
gosh! Oh my!
passes.
And then what about the next Super Bowl that he won? What do you got to?
I'll
What do you
give
got
him
for
that
that?
one, so he has one over Brady.
Shut up!
Tyree has one.
This is why the Browns don't
If I'm
deserve
going
a
eye test,
championship.
LeBron's the greatest athlete of all time. just by watching. what
There's
he does.
nothing he doesn't do better than Michael.
No, I agree.
But I ain't never-
Greatest
I'm not-
athlete of all
I'm
time.
not sure I'm betting against Jordan though.
No.
If it came down to Michael and LeBron, I'm taking LeBron. It's just he's better. He's just better at basketball.
What were you gonna ask me?
How many Super Bowls did Phil Simms win?
Phil Simms.
I hope he won negative.
I know he's won at least one. I know he beat
I
the
think-
Bills.
That's the only one.
I mean, he's good, right?
I hate Phil Simms. Don't ask me.
I mean, I know you hate Phil Simms. for reasons
Actually, I believe it was
beyond.
Hostetler that beat the Bills.
Hostetler won one of them. I think didn't he play the Bills twice though?
Giants won 86 with Sims.
I was born in
They
'85.
beat the Broncos. Sims won the Super Bowl the year of the drive.
I hate Phil Simms.
I know, that's
Why
why,
do
that's
you
why I
hate
brought
But
up-
that's, I'm
that's why I
putting
brought
Phil
up
Sims as a
Simpson.
good example
Just
for
as
Baker
a
Mayfield.
commentator.
I hate him as a
He hates
commentator.
him for
He's
reasons beyond
smug.
belief.
He's a
Phil Sims was nothing for like 5 or 6 years in New York, booed, and didn't win a Super Bowl. That's what I think Baker Mayfield's going to do. That's who I closely reminds me about Baker Mayfield is Phil Sims.
oh
But
now I hate Baker Mayfield.
Back
It-
to
it just-
that, DJ. Before last year, there were some people putting Baker in they said he could be in Mahomes' category. Now the narrative has totally flipped, and they're like, is he even starter quality in this league? So what is it? Because people flip flop.
No. You say people. You say people. Those are your brothers and sisters in brown and orange. Those are your brothers and
No,
sisters.
it's national people too. There's people.
Because
that
who do you think
he's
starts
not
that
even-
conversation? Who do you think starts that narrative that Baker Mayfield isn't that good? There was an expectation unfairly last year that the Browns were going to be Super Bowl champions. Where do you think that started? It didn't start in Pittsburgh. It didn't start in New York. That started right down the road in Cleveland. And
No, it was the national media hyping him up.
I'll let you in on a little secret. The national media doesn't really start the fire. They just fan the flames.
I don't know, when OBJ went there.
OBJ, listen,
National
it
media
start,
all
but
over the
well,
Browns.
where does that start? It starts in Cleveland. It starts internally. And listen, I'm not saying they shouldn't believe that they should win the championship. I'm not saying that at all because 32 teams start with that dream. But let's be realistic. What did they prove prior to that point that they picked up one guy, and all of a sudden they're Super Bowl favorites?
For the record, I predicted 6 wins.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, Scotty, you were in that. You started work here last year, and you told me you're buying into the hype that the Browns were legit. They were gonna make. And listen, you want to talk about the bounces that other teams get. The starting quarterback for your rival goes down. You had 2 wins in the bag. You couldn't beat the Duck. And then you have an opportunity, and you did beat the Ravens, right? So you go 1-1 against everybody, 2-0 against the Bengals, correct?
Yeah.
Or the Bengals get you 2?
No, they got him
So
the
you
one
go
in 16.
1-1. You win the game. You win the game you're supposed to win. You split with the Ravens, giving yourself a chance. You've got to beat the Steelers twice without Ben Roethlisberger. You've got to beat the Bengals, who I'm pretty sure 90% of the local teams here could probably do in a stage game. Your team crapped the bed. Like you look at it, the championship.
Yeah, again,
you got to
but
beat the good
How
team.
much is that just circumstance and that Kitchens was the coach? Because
Stop blaming the coach.
Penalties.
But listen, DJ, I'm telling you, I've listened.
What's the excuse going to be next year, Scotty? What's the excuse? You can't blame Freddie Kitchens
There's
anymore.
no excuse now.
Kevin
He's
Stefanski.
out. Baker's out of excuses now because they've done now all the positions surrounding him have been taken care of. But I know for a fact people in Cleveland have said it. I was on Twitter, Facebook. I listened to talk shows.
Sure.
Freddie Kitchens would run plays and in practice all week, certain plays, and then the day of the game, he'd totally strap them and they run stuff that was, he had no clue what the hell he was doing. So who's to say Stefanski, who's based off his press conferences, is much smarter from an IQ, and I know that sounds harsh, but from
It's a southern accent.
It
an
is.
intelligence perspective, Stefanski sounds a lot smarter. Who's to say Baker doesn't flourish? And
Here we go again.
Isn't in
Because I know it's
in
not
that
going to work. It's the way it works.
Here we go again.
It's the
Now,
same
now,
problem as
now let
Minnesota.
me ask you a question,
I'm gonna run
Scotty.
the football too much.
When you're studying for a test, and there's a question on the test that doesn't necessarily is the one you studied, do you just go, you raise your hand and say, this wasn't what I studied? Or do you try to manipulate and make your best guess, right? Which is typically C if you're out there
just
listening.
pick C and go
Always
with it.
pick C. But I would say this. Do you think that when they script things all week in practice, that they go, you know what, this is going exactly the way we thought it would? The defense showed up and they just said, you know what, they're going to go in the defense we thought they would. Everything works.
No, but they don't totally scrap it. Is what I'm.
Let me
saying.
ask you something. If you're a football coach,
Scrap a player too, but not.
if you're a football coach, thanks, Quinn, appreciate it. And everybody, you know that the team is going to run to the right because they run to the right 98% of the time, and you stack your left side on defense to protect against that right side run. Do you think they're going to run right, or do you think they're going to Omaha to the left and go the other way? That's what people don't. That's half the story.
They'll try to run right until it's stopped, and then they'll.
What the hell would you? If there is 9 guys on the right
Because
side,
you see that, you see dumbass play calling all the time in the NFL. What are you talking about?
He only watches the Steelers. He doesn't watch the Browns.
But Tomlin has made. There's plays
Tomlin
when,
has, yes,
when
but he has Roethlisberger,
when
so
he
that doesn't
had
matter.
Bell Brown, they would get cute at times and run stupid plays.
let me ask you a question. Do you really think that Mike Tomlin has any control over that offense?
I think he
He
does.
He
Yeah,
does,
he's
and then
the
he tells
head coach.
Roethlisberger, and then Roethlisberger's like, I'm not doing
I
this.
think we all saw this past year, and you got a chance to watch the Steelers, who the Steelers really are without Ben Roethlisberger. I think we all know who calls the plays. I know who we all know who. What?
They stink without Roethlisberger.
They do.
They stink. They're
But if
terrible.
you any team is going to stink without their franchise quarterback. That is what's going to happen. Like, I don't know.
But that's the
Unless you're the
thing. I
Patriots.
disagree. I disagree.
Watch
with
this
you.
year. Watch
When
this year.
They had Castle.
They weren't.
I'm tired of the Castle argument.
So
He
am
was-
I, but that's the only thing you could say, argue with it.
He still had
They
great
weren't
weapons
that
around him,
bad.
I'm not denying it.
and he had a great defense. The Browns have a
So
great
did
defense.
So did Pittsburgh.
The
what?
Browns do not.
Last year,
have-
their defense was pretty
They didn't
good.
get good, and you can look at this
they
statistically.
got Fitzpatrick,
and they
they
got
were- they're good, but
Fitzpatrick,
they
and all of
got
a
him
sudden
pretty
they
early.
went. No, they didn't. They got him in what, week 7? That's halfway through the year. They were 1 and whatever.
And the
So-
Browns' defense isn't good, by the way.
Oh, they're not
Myles
good?
Garrett is good, but
Oh yeah.
all the other guys have to prove themselves.
All hail Myles Garrett. But
they,
but
Ward's
guys,
okay. They lost Schobert. Losing Schobert's gonna hurt.
The linebackers look so weak.
what
right
does
now.
I'm tired of talking about the Browns and the Steelers. What does you said Mahomes could go in the Hall
He's
of Fame
already
right
a
now?
Hall of Famer, yes.
What does he have to do? Who's your greatest of all time? Bar none. Just say a word. Don't try to prove it.
Paul, it has to be Brady.
Okay.
Tom Brady.
So Tom Brady's here. What does Pat Mahomes, in your opinion, have to do to be the greatest of all time?
To pass Tom Brady?
Yep, because this is going to tell me everything about your argument.
Become Tom Brady.
I think that for Pat Mahomes to pass Tom Brady,
Here it comes.
he has
Here it
to.
comes.
He has to play. I'm gonna say not even win. Play in. He has to play in 3 more Super. If he plays in 3 more, even if they lose all 3, he's the GOAT.
So if he goes 1 and 3 in
way.
Super Bowls,
No
he
way.
wins 1 MVP.
He's
the greatest of
better-
all time?
In my
Even though you
opinion.
have Brady, who has 6 rings.
eye test.
I wouldn't even say the eye
eye
test makes him
test.
better.
And he's better. He throws the no-look passes.
He's also not completed a
he's
lot of
better.
those.
More gifted.
No, he's not.
If
Who
he,
the hell cares if he looks at the receiver or not if it's completed for a touchdown? Like, I feel like, Scotty, I'm eating steak and you're eating the sizzle, right? That's where it's at. You're eating the whatever's around the G. Berwick Farm steak that we're cooking on the countertop. You're loving the fact that there's stuff oozing out of it because that's what you're having
He's
for
like
dinner.
DJ. He said, "You watched him. He's like watching a superhero play football." That's what I equated to.
Okay.
It's not going to work though.
Okay, so let's
Loves
put her.
Pat Mahomes.
I know he does. He and Anthony could have one hell of a Pat Mahomes party because they and not to say Anthony's a Chiefs fan, so I expect this from him. From you though.
By
I've
the way,
expected better, Scott.
I think the best quarterback in the NFL right now, slightest edge, it's not even Mahomes, it's Russell Wilson.
Hey, my fantasy quarterback from last year.
How the hell does that even happen? You were all over the board, my
But
friend.
I-
You're like this show. You're just scattered all over.
I know this, but hear me out.
Okay, let's go.
When it's all said and done, Mahomes will be bar none greatest ever. Russell Wilson won't be in that.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna ask you. Blind test. Okay, you're gonna tell me who is the greatest of all time. This particular quarterback has, I don't even know how many, 3 MVPs. He has 6 Super Bowl titles and 2 losses in the Super Bowl. He's been in 8 Super Bowls. This quarterback has 1 Super Bowl title, 1 MVP, and 4 losses in the Super Bowl. Which quarterback deserves to be in the Hall of Fame?
The guy with the 6 Super Bowl titles.
Why is that?
The other guy deserves to be in also. It's a 4 Super Bowls.
Okay.
Yeah, they both deserve to be in.
Okay. But with only 1 MVP, 1 Super Bowl title, and the other guy has 6, who is the greatest of all time?
It's not only that though. Like Brady's leading the league in every category. In
Mostly.
history, he's going to
Mostly.
be the best passer.
Mostly. You know the argument I heard, and I'm waiting to see if Scotty comes up with this argument, because this is the argument. I wouldn't punch Scotty in the face ever, but I want to punch people in the face. Because here's the thing. You've said it before. I'm a Steeler fan, right? I don't hide behind it, but you very rarely hear Steelers fans say Brady's the greatest of all time. They'll hide behind Montana because they didn't have to play Montana, right?
Because they didn't lose to Brady.
So I recognize greatness. I think Pat Mahomes is great. I think he has an opportunity to be the greatest of all time, but I think he's got a lot of walking to do.
Dominance.
He wins another MVP and 2 more Super Bowls.
But you just changed it.
It's not even.
Scotty, it's beyond that though.
But I'm changing it to convince you. If he wins another MVP and another Super Bowl, he's already a Hall of Famer in my mind. If he wins 2 more, no one's close.
I will say this: if he wins 2
I'll
more,
say he's a Hall of Famer with that, but there's no way he's going to be the greatest of all time.
No.
I mean, Brady's lost the AFC East once, I think, in like 20 years.
and he wasn't even playing.
Have you looked at the Chiefs roster? Do you think they're
That's
really
why
going
Brady's
to
better.
slow down anytime soon?
Yes.
Yeah, that contract's going to kill him.
Yeah,
All of those contracts are
they're
killer.
handing out contracts like they're Tic Tacs at a bad breath party.
I appreciate what they're doing. They're trying to win as much as they can.
I
right now
think
before the cap.
I
actually
think
kills them.
even with that, they could easily win 3 more. They could win the next 3 easily.
Easily.
They're going to lose this year to Tom Brady.
You
If
take
they
his-
lose this year to
the
Tom Brady, are
only-
you going to say Brady's the best now? Is that what it takes? Yeah.
I would
If
love
Brady
that.
wins the Super Bowl
I
this
already
year,
said Brady's the best right now.
forever.
But if Mahomes,
If
wins,
you've got
if
Brady
Brady
that's
beats
40,
Mahomes.
43-year-old
I never see anyone doing what Brady did again in my life.
43-year-old
impossible.
Tom Brady
It's
beats a Patrick Mahomes in his prime, you have to admit that.
then I would say Brady.
It's just
But
not that.
I
He's done
don't
it for
think
20
that's
years.
happening.
Yeah, I got another
That's-
20, 25 years
yeah.
left on this earth. I don't think
Brady's
I've
done it
seen
for
Brady.
20 years.
That's my thing.
Like,
is
our whole life
And
has
I
been
think
Brady
I
dominance.
think Mahomes could get to that level though.
For 20 straight years?
I think.
I don't think he
There's
can
not
play.
enough money on the planet in Kansas
Now, if
City to
Andy
make that
Reid was
work.
20 years younger, maybe.
Here's the thing though. Mahomes plays a different game than Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's going to run.
I don't think Pat Mahomes makes it 22 years in the league or however long that he's made it. I mean, you look at this and you
Brady
go,
never ran or
Yeah.
Brady never ran. He just got 1,000 rushing yards on his career. Like
Brady
2 years
crumpled
ago.
like the same way that Peyton Manning did. If there's someone near him, he's not trying to fight out of it like a Roethlisberger or wiggle his way out like a Pat Mahomes.
Doesn't have that instinct.
He crumples.
That's the other
and that's
thing.
okay.
Say Mahomes is better than Manning? Peyton? Really?
By the way, has anybody watched the show Peyton Places?
It's fantastic.
I
Amazing.
love it.
Fantastic.
Watched 4 the other day.
Peyton Manning is my favorite quarterback of all time, bar none.
He's
Bar
the
none.
funniest guy I've.
Absolutely. Because he's got such a big brain in that forehead of his that it's just.
I always thought he just had a big forehead, but
That's
it's got to be a brain in there.
Manning is great, but when it was obvious that he had more talent than Brady, a lot of those he lost to Brady. So I can't.
What talent did he have?
How good was Marvin Harrison, a premier receiver?
Older Marvin Harrison and a young Reggie Wayne going against Randy
Marvin
Moss.
Harrison was great. So was Edgerrin James.
Not Randy Moss.
All the skill position guys.
Stop talking about Peyton Manning have all this talent around it. He did not.
He had none.
He had more than
Not in
Brady.
Indianapolis,
That's my
No,
point.
he did not. No.
Can you name 4 defensive starters for the Indianapolis Colts during that period that
Mike
were
Boss?
were worth their weight in a contract?
That Robert guy.
Dwight
Robert
Freeney
Mathis.
is one. Robert Mathis.
Stop helping
He
him.
was talking to Super Dave over there.
You think that Scotty's not going to hear you?
No, Scotty's blocked me out completely.
Okay, there's 2. I'll give you that. Really 1.
He's got Pat Mahomes blinders on right now.
Yeah, you got to name 5.
4, right?
4.
5, because I gave you one.
Dwight Freeney,
Yeah,
Robert,
you're right. Yeah, all right, we got those
Robert
2.
Mathis.
I said Mike Doss.
Don't say Mike Doss.
I know who you're talking about. I can name a lot of them.
I'm saying that's what I'm saying. Like you're going to tell me that Peyton Manning had all these weapons around him. Defensively, Tom Brady had the better team for years and still did up to last year.
I will say this though, Peyton's line was better.
Peyton's line was better.
Peyton's line was better.
Peyton's line was
But
better.
that was it.
However,
That was it.
he
After that first year,
created
they made sure
created
of that.
Marvin
Oh, yeah.
Harrison. He
Rightfully
made a Hall of Famer out of Marvin Harrison.
And Marvin.
But-
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't know.
Where I'm
Edwin
thinking,
James.
Conversely, Jerry Rice made a
But
Hall of Fame
Brady-
in Montana.
I
Who
Because
do
of
you
Peyton.
have? Who did Brady have besides 1 year in 07? He had Randy Moss.
Gronk.
In comparison to
Troy Brown.
Hey, Deion Branch won the Super Bowl.
let me
MVP.
tell you this. Let's explain this.
Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison are way better than any receivers Brady
Randy
had,
Moss.
aside from Moss. Gronk is a tight
Harrison and Wayne
end,
were
so
good, yeah.
In the system that Tom Brady ran, it wasn't over the top. It was beat him down the field 10 yards at a time.
yeah,
He always
Troy
had one that
Brown
could go over the top. and that
playing
was usually
wide
Randy Moss.
receiver the 1 year.
So let's just put
Same
this in
with cornerback.
perspective.
Wes Welker?
One of the
Welker, yeah.
to me the greatest tight end hybrid of all time, Rob Gronkowski, helped him out a little bit. Helped him probably win those last 3 championships.
I mean, if you compare him, Gronk and Dallas Clark, I'm taking Gronk.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Gronk.
Randy Moss or Marvin Harrison, I'm taking Randy Moss.
The only reason that Clark worked was
He
because
won
Clark was basically a fullback.
Brady won all those. He won 3 Super Bowls without Gronk.
What is
Great-
that head-to-head
great
matchup
defenses,
Brady
though.
and-
Okay, so let me ask you this:
Brady has it.
if he wins just 3 Super Bowls, is Tom Brady declared the greatest of all time?
No.
I don't know. That's tough because
No,
he's
in
still gonna
fact,
have.
he
He's
goes
still
down
have
as
all
the
the.
most underrated quarterback of all time.
Yeah,
No one's
so
still
How
giving
can he
him
be
credit.
underrated though?
he-
Coming out of the
He's
6th
still,
round.
He's
Same way he was
still the
underrated in
greatest of all time because
With 3 Super Bowls?
It depends on
look
your
at what
stats. then.
how many he's been to. Who cares?
Tell me
Things happen
that
to
he's not going to
always-
be in the shadow of Joe Montana with 3 Super Bowl victories. Tell me he isn't.
Yeah, but you're gonna have those guys that argue stats.
That's fine.
You're just looking at championships, then yeah, he's underperforming.
Brady had to win that many because
Yeah.
he
My-
disrespected Michigan just on draft day, and then
In
he had
the
to make it
Culmination of
undeniable.
in the 49ers,
They
they
wanted
were
Bledsoe.
revolutionary at that time because Bill Walsh implemented the West Coast offense that was unlike anything anybody had ever seen at the time. I think Montana had his weapons were much better. Those teams
They're
were
comparable.
absolutely loaded.
You can compare them.
Do you think Jerry Rice, and we'll never know this,
Rice
but do you
and
think Jerry Rice
Moss.
is the greatest of all time, arguably the greatest receiver of all time,
Absolutely.
with
Greatest
someone
wide
else?
out, yes.
I think he
Yeah,
made Montana.
I
better than
think
he was.
he's.
So if he's Boomer
anybody.
Esiason,
He made Young good.
I think he's with anybody else, he'd still be
Yeah, he's
good.
the best.
interesting, because I see it. I am of, and this is probably not everybody's favorite. I am of the mindset that quarterbacks make the receivers
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
99% of the time.
And the
Are you,
1% is
so
very right.
Eli Manning made Odell Beckham? Or did Odell Beckham
I
be
don't
that
I
good?
don't see enough from Odell Beckham to claim him as a Hall of Fame.
Did Roethlisberger make Brown?
Yes,
100%.
yes.
With
Keep in
like,
mind, because here's the thing, guys.
Could Brown
Here's-
have played with Rodgers and been
Antonio-
just as good?
Antonio-
After he caught the ball.
Antonio Brown
Yards
was
wise, yeah.
listen. The Antonio Brown was part of that two
Sorry,
dogs,
Dad.
one bone, right? With Emmanuel Sanders, and he didn't get a helmet until Sanders was outworked in practice. So when you look at that, Roethlisberger did make Brown, because if Roethlisberger doesn't throw to Brown, Antonio Brown probably isn't, well, what could have been consistent the greatest receiver ever.
If
If-
it's that
if you
strategy,
put-
One at a time.
if it's that strategy though, wouldn't Brown have been with the second string guys to outwork whoever he needed to do to get better? So he would have had Charlie Batch throwing at him
Correct.
to get to the point of Roethlisberger
But
throwing
the
to him?
fact that the work ethic of Antonio Brown set him over the top.
True, but how much of that's on him?
But
You're
Roethlisberger
right,
saw
as
that.
well.
But Roethlisberger sees that.
True.
Roethlisberger,
No, yeah, you're not wrong.
and I said this the other day as well, is Roethlisberger was able to pick his receivers and say,
Yeah.
"You're my guy. We're riding this year." And I don't know if there was a cut or car, whatever it was.
Motorcycle.
Wow, that's a dick move, Captain Cheesecake.
Don't like Pittsburgh. What could I say?
So when you look at that and you realize that quarterbacks make these receivers, because if nobody throws them the ball, they're not getting it.
Some of them.
No, I don't.
You're great ones.
Here's where I disagree.
Scotty, go ahead.
Great quarterbacks can make really good or great receivers, but let me tell you this, DJ. I feel you could take either one, whether you like Odell more or you like Jarvis Landry. Take either one. If you put them on the Steelers last year, the Steelers go from almost playoff team to definite playoff team.
No.
They
And I'll
would
tell
have
you
made
why.
the playoffs with Odell
might
or
have helped a little
Jarvis
bit.
Landry.
Why? How?
He's just
He
that
still
kind of guy.
got 1,000 yards and he was hurt the whole year.
he's that kind of guy. He gives you a different receiver.
But he's got
He-
Turd Ferguson throwing him the football.
I mean, he's gonna have Turd Ferguson throwing him whether he's in Pittsburgh or
He
Cleveland.
had that in New York.
No, listen.
Without Roethlisberger, yes.
Well, that's what I'm
But
saying.
what
is-
he does, I agree with Scotty, because what he does is he gives Juju the opportunity to be the guy that he was with Antonio.
No.
Are you going to worry more about Juju or Odell if you're going against, say, Pittsburgh with Odell?
But that was the problem with
It's gonna
Pittsburgh. It was, do you double AB or do you double or do you play man on Juju, right?
Yeah.
Juju's going to get his because AB's getting double covered because you're not going to let AB beat him.
Right.
Yeah, like John
That's
Taylor.
why Odell's going to help him.
Odell is not going to. He's
You're
not going
going
to
to
get a double
isolate.
team.
You're going to go one-on-one with Odell.
Yeah, I think you can, and I think
I
it was
know.
proven last year that you can let Odell Beckham get his numbers and you can still win the ball game. You can't do that to Antonio Brown because Antonio Brown can beat you from 1 yard away or from 99 yards away. Odell Beckham cannot do that. He can't. He hasn't proven it.
That's why.
That's why he's over
Roethlisberger
1,000
did not
every year.
make Brown great.
What's that?
That's why Roethlisberger did not make Brown a superstar.
No,
Brown used to catch those passes and do things that Roethlisberger had nothing to do
but
with.
Roethlisberger can set his receivers up, set his running backs up for success because he's able to throw the ball wherever he wants, throw it into the bucket, drop it in the bucket, as they say, right? Roethlisberger has made the throws. So if you look at Santonio Holmes' catch in the Super Bowl, right, just as an instance, and obviously it's on the grandest of stages, how many quarterbacks
That's a good pass.
can make that freaking throw?
You're
On point,
elite guys.
you're elite guys.
Brady, Manning, those
4 or
guys.
5, that's it.
Yeah.
4 or 5 of the league, or 4 or 5 in the last 20 years?
Well,
4 or 5 in the league, I'd say.
nah, I'd say
The elite guys.
you're elite. You're elite guys. Cody.
Yeah, so you're talking 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the last 20, 25 years make that throw.
Tim Couch would have.
Or shut up. I'll argue that all day. That Roethlisberger, even though that was a fantastic catch,
I think it's easier to make that catch than make the throw.
I agree with you because he runs to a spot, right? He turns and he puts his hands up. Now, I'm not taking anything away from the catch, but you've got one option. You make that grab.
There's more guys that can make that catch in the league than there are that can make the throw.
And that's where the toe tap started.
I will give you
You
that.
know what I mean?
I will give you
Nobody sits there and goes, man, Santonio
I will
Holmes.
say that too. Antonio has the best toe tap too.
Santonio,
Best sideline work.
yeah, he's Tony toe tap. But reality is, Antonio Brown also had an opportunity. Now keep this in mind. I believe this is still the case. There's only 2 quarterbacks that have thrown a touchdown to Antonio Brown. 2 quarterbacks.
Brady and Roethlisberger.
Brady and Roethlisberger. And you think about all the times that
He didn't
Antonio.
get one in Seattle. Or who was in Seattle? Josh Gordon was in Seattle.
No, he didn't get one in
They're all
Seattle.
the same.
Oh, are they?
Those two are the same.
Franco Harris
Yeah,
didn't
they're
just
both
career in
head
Seattle.
cases.
Josh Brown and Antonio Brown,
They're
or
both
Josh.
head cases.
Okay, Josh Gordon, Antonio Brown. Sorry, but that's my thing. Is if Antonio Brown is the greatest receiver and he makes the quarterback, Charlie Batch never threw a touchdown to him.
I'm not saying Antonio Brown made Roethlisberger.
No, what I'm saying is quarterbacks.
Certain wideouts can though.
Right, but Baker. When you look at Baker Mayfield, you look at like Tom Brady made all his receivers, made them all.
Pretty much, yes.
Peyton Manning
made 'em all.
made his receivers, right?
Rodgers probably makes them all.
Correct. You look at that and you go, okay, Rodgers, exactly.
Rodgers does.
Aaron
Brees
Rodgers,
does.
I do.
and you know how
agree
big of
that-
a
That's why they
Aaron
put up
Rodgers
those
fan I
I
am.
think Eli Manning's throw to Manningham on the sideline was just as good as Roethlisberger's to Santonio Holmes. I mean, that was.
It was, but it wasn't because it wasn't for a game-winning touchdown.
but for
That's the only thing.
pinpoint
It set up
precision,
that
oh my
touchdown
goodness.
though.
But I do agree that I think Baker's the type of guy he needs the people around him to play great too for
Yeah,
him
no,
to
absolutely.
reach his full potential. Where a guy like Roethlisberger, he does make the other guys around him better. I don't think Baker has that
Not yet,
quality.
not
I
yet.
think
No.
he could be really good, but I don't think.
I think Baker Mayfield, to put a bow on this because we got to get to a break and I want to get to this comment, but I think Baker Mayfield, for all intents and purposes, is a discount Drew Brees. Straight up and down.
To an extent.
If you're looking at a Family Dollar, your Family Dollar, and
Take it.
you
I mean, yeah, I'll take that every day of the
Right?
week.
So
He's like a San Diego Drew Brees.
So,
to me.
Matt Seidel, the head
I-
coach at Sebring.
I say discount Brett Favre. Sorry, DJ.
Yeah,
I just
no,
had to
I'd
get
go
that
with Brett
in.
Favre before Drew Brees because Favre just chucked it everywhere.
Interesting.
Brees won't chuck it.
Matt Seidel saying, I agree with you, DJ. Look how many guys Peyton Manning made who would not have had the kind of career that had he not made it for him. Think of guys like Austin Collie, Pierre Garcon, obviously from Mount Union. Wide receiver has to have a quarterback who can deliver the ball. There are exceptions like Larry Fitzgerald, but those are rare talents among us. And I think there's some points to that. And thanks for Matt for chiming in. But we have so we're not only on our third. No, we're not even on our. We went from Blue Jays in Pittsburgh all the way full circle back to the NFL. That's the way the world works right now. So we're gonna get to more stuff. We're gonna talk to Scotty about his upcoming article tomorrow about his favorite logos and some team sensitivity and some cultural sensitivity about the logos in the situation and team names. We're also going to talk best uniforms and should the Cleveland blank keep the blue and red or go to a different color. All that and more coming up on the YSN Running Point.
Ah, the details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-res Futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Day in the showers, I'm keeping my eye on in parts of Columbiana County.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I'm feeling pretty good about myself, like I'm living the dream. Platform shoes, straight down the street. It's gonna get hot in here, I hope you can handle the heat. 2, 3, 4, everybody get down.
Over the years, you watched us grow, and as we've done, so has the Myers Family Insurance team.
Thanks to all of you who have trusted our families to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come, so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. And as typical here on, well, it's not Running Point, but typically any show that Quinn and I are on, the LeBron versus Michael Jordan thing always peeks its ugly head. And naturally, there's never going to be a decisive victor in that because, well, we don't understand each other. I'm speaking English, well, like we do in America, and he's speaking French like they do in that weak country.
LeBron reels off 3 straight championships with the Lakers. Then we got a conversation.
Hey, Quinn, maybe you can you could get a LeBron cardboard cutout in here.
I should put a big LeBron one behind me.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. There's nobody that touches that Michael Jordan cutout and hangs out with it more than the guy you're sitting next to.
See, what I can't stand is you guys all think I hate Michael. I don't. I like Michael.
I've never heard you say a good word other than what you just said.
He's the second best player in the NBA.
Well, you say that all the time. How is that? That is the biggest backhanded compliment ever.
Would you want to be called the second best player to ever play baseball?
The only person that's okay with being second best is LeBron James, and that is.
But he's not, so it doesn't matter.
But he is, and he has been 6 times.
But I would argue he's not. He said on his on the one show or a podcast that the win. The coming back from 3-1 when he was in Cleveland he said that made him the greatest ever. So he does think he's the greatest ever.
It's not for, listen, I can sit here and say that I'm the best sports anchor of all time, but I can't declare that. I can't fly the flag up my own flagpole and tell everybody that. You can have confidence, and there's nothing wrong with that, because we know that athletes are nothing short when it comes to confident. But I will say this, is that you got to bring a little bit more to the table than that. Like, to say that one of your 2 championships makes you the greatest of all time is the same as you saying Pat Mahomes can retire.
Yeah, LeBron has 3.
3, whatever. It's one of those situations where you say that, oh, okay, well, you know.
He said because no team ever came back from a 3-1 deficit, and they were facing a record-setting NBA team that won 73 games, went 73-9.
Okay, so are the Boston Red Sox the best baseball team of all time because they came back 3-1 against your Indians in what, 2007?
But they weren't playing a record-setting Yankees
Pretty damn
team.
No. Indians, and they did it again in
Oh.
2004.
I mean, do you
I
discredit what he does
Who?
for how good LeBron has done stuff?
I don't.
Like,
I don't
8 in
hate
a row
LeBron.
doesn't mean anything to you because he didn't
That's
win them
really
all.
yes.
So
That's
going
the point.
to 8 straight means nothing.
Because he lost to Duncan.
Like, the odds of going to 8 straight ever again are not going to happen.
Okay.
It didn't happen since Bill
And
Russell did.
That's
Two different teams.
DJ,
Not
how
even
many
Michael
of
did.
those?
Whoa. One at a time. Like, take a number, Quinn.
How many of those finals that LeBron? Let me put it this way: how many that he lost did he have the better team, in your opinion?
Not the one with Drew Gooden and Eric Snow were running the show alongside him.
Listen.
Larry Hughes.
I'm going to say this: if you are, and there's, finish your statement, please.
This is me. The only year he had the better team, and I thought he totally just crapped the bed. The only year was his first year in Miami.
Dallas.
I thought that for sure
And
they
Dallas.
should have beat that Dallas team. But other than that, every team he matched up against had more firepower. They were better.
Anything else?
Yeah, LeBron was throwing corner passes to Ira Newble in 2007.
I remember Ira Newble.
Listen,
Not Kevin Love.
Listen, champions don't make excuses. I mean, that's just how it is. Champions don't make
And I'm
excuses.
sure LeBron's not
I've
making
never
excuses.
heard of LeBron. I've never heard LeBron make an excuse.
Right. We're making
I've heard
excuses.
people make
I'm not a
excuses
champion.
for him, but I've never heard him say it.
Oh, LeBron is an excuse maker.
I've never heard him say
He's an
once
excuse
that
maker.
they were better
Let-
than us.
I will put it. I'll
That's
put it
why
out
they
there.
won.
I think it's well documented how much of a guy that it's never my fault. It's the coach's fault. It's not my guys. These aren't the guys that I want surrounding me. He went from not having the guys that he wanted in losing to having the guys around him and winning some and losing most to having the guys around him where he won one and lost the rest. Am I wrong in that statement?
So you've
LeBron
heard-
has
you've heard him say
had
that?
the ability to handpick his teams ever since his first finals.
But I never heard one interview where he complained about Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving going down in his first trip.
Yeah. I've never heard him complain that
never complained.
Pat Riley
He
didn't
went
build him a team.
6 games in that series without Kyrie and Love. And not
Okay.
one post.
But if you're the greatest,
He never said if we had Love and Kyrie, we would have won that series.
No,
Never said
he
that
still
one.
almost won the series.
if LeBron comes out 10 years from now, after his career's over, the same way that Jordan has come out and
That reminds me of something.
okay, great. I can't wait for this dynamite drop in.
Didn't Michael blame Jerry Krause the entire time?
For what?
Everything?
For
Oh,
what?
we're not together for a 7-peat because Jerry doesn't want us together.
Did you watch and did you see what they did?
It's just an excuse.
You want to? What do you mean it's an excuse? It's reality. They were going to break up the team
No, he was gonna
because
get rid of Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson,
So
which
just get rid of your coach. So what?
oh heaven forbid,
Suck it up.
Heaven forbid someone's
Suck it
loyal
up.
to their coach and doesn't want their buddy Tyronn Lue to come
All
in
right,
and
would
win
you
a
rather
championship.
compete and win for 7, or would you rather stay with Phil Jackson?
I think that Michael and Phil Jackson could have won wherever. I think they probably could have won 9, 10 championships together.
That's not the point, though.
That's not my point. My point is they got rid of Phil Jackson. Why didn't you stay for 7?
Because he's Phil Jackson's guy.
So what? You want to win 7? You stay. You don't care.
He's a loyal guy. Why? Like why?
Then why didn't he go to LA with Phil?
Can
He
LA
quit. He
afford it?
retired. Yeah, LA can afford him. It's the Lakers.
They
Come
had
on.
Kobe and Shaq, did they not?
And you get Michael Jordan.
And your buddy Robert Horry.
And Michael Jordan says, I want to come here because Phil Jackson's here. You don't make money for him? Really?
Yeah. Michael
really?
only makes 3 in a row, and then he quits.
Listen. Their loyalty goes a little bit further than just the coach. Michael was loyal to Chicago.
Nobody told Michael to retire for baseball. He did that.
All right,
That's his choice.
let's break this down.
And I don't.
There were
fall for it.
reasons
Yeah, I
beyond
get
basketball.
That. I get that.
Then why do you bring that up?
Why did he retire the second time? Because Phil Jackson left?
Yes.
So then I don't want to hear this. Oh, we could have won 7, 8, all this stuff. You chose to retire.
But you're gonna
could've
sit there.
stayed in one.
You're gonna sit there and
You
pat
could've
the
went somewhere
greatest
else
of
and
all
won.
time because
He
we're
didn't
not
quit.
1, not 2, not 3, coming out in their can jam and him and Chris Bosh, the alien, and
never
D
once
Wade.
said anything
Listen, here, loyalty is if LeBron's that good, those two end up in Cleveland. You sell your city that you're so patting on the back, and you represent the
He
3-3.
tried to get him to come,
and
they wouldn't come to Cleveland.
Who wants to come to Cleveland?
Nobody
I don't care who
vacations.
You're trying to sell Cleveland, not LeBron.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you're the guy, they come to you. The same way that everybody argues, oh, Jordan had all these weapons. Look, Jordan didn't leave. They came to him. They played by his rules.
They were drafted by him.
Chicago's
They didn't have a choice.
Steve Kerr was drafted by the Bulls?
They didn't have a choice.
Steve Kerr, this is the
Are
one.
you going to say Steve Kerr's really that important?
I was going to say it.
Really?
Well, it seemed
he
to
made
be-
one shot.
well,
I get it.
but
he
you
bailed
seem to
him
bring
out
that one
game.
shot
I get it.
a
Yeah,
lot.
because it's the same argument with Kyrie. I get it. Steve Kerr didn't make that team.
I'm going to be real with you.
Steve
and
Kerr didn't make that
I'm going to be real. Like, let's
Please.
get real.
Go ahead.
If you have Kyrie Irving.
One shot for that finals, yes.
Just one shot.
The one shot that made the shot.
Okay,
yes.
then I never want to hear the argument again that the only reason LeBron lost was because he didn't have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love.
I never said that.
But you
I
just
never said that.
contradicted yourself right there.
LeBron didn't win because they just didn't win.
Because he didn't have Kyrie.
Didn't need Kyrie to win it.
You've said it a million times.
So are you going to say that Michael should be 5-0 because he had Steve Kerr for one of them?
That's fine if he's 5-0, 6-0. But what I'm saying is, you're going to say that Steve Kerr is the same level as Kyrie Irving, but then you're also going to say
in relation to the two greatest players to ever play basketball, they're the same.
False.
They are. They both made one shot.
Listen,
they
man.
both made one shot.
Listen.
In the finals.
Listen,
That won
if
a finals.
you're
the same thing.
If
They
you're
both
even
made one
up
shot.
on Kyrie Irving and Steve Kerr, then I've got
the point is
real
is
estate
that
to sell you right now.
Without
brother.
LeBron, the Cavs aren't there. Plain and simple.
The Cavs aren't where?
In the finals.
Correct.
Or even coming close
Correct.
to coming
The
back
Bulls
from that
won 50
finals.
games when Michael went to play
Without
baseball.
Michael, the Bulls still won.
Yeah.
They still won. They're still good.
Yeah, they're not.
They're not in the finals. They still made the playoffs. They won 55
They
games.
made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
They went from 57 wins to 55 wins.
All right, guys.
They did.
It's time to move on. Like I'm done with this. You and I have been done with this for 3 times, and I'm so tired of this conversation. So then why do you keep fighting?
Because you keep fighting me.
It always
It's the same
spins
thing.
back for you to LeBron.
And yours always back to Michael.
No.
They're the
We were
same.
talking about Joe Montana. And then you spun it. Don't say this.
I didn't
Don't say
spin
this
it.
because we're gonna go
Yes,
back
it
to
is.
LeBron. I don't want to go back there. We were talking about Brady and Montana, and you always spin it back to basketball. I don't care
you were
about
gonna
those
say it.
two.
I love it.
All right, God, love it. We are going on to Scotty Mincher's article tomorrow. That's coming out on ysnlive.com about logos, your favorite logos, and of course the teams that represent them. Scotty, give us a little insight on this article you're coming out with. Given the sensitivity we have in America about logos and team names and things of that nature, you were able to pick your favorites from the past. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure, DJ. I was very, especially because you just said it, in these times it was a very personal article for me, and the idea just popped into my head with several teams changing names, i.e. the Cleveland Indians. It's looking like they're going to go that route. The Redskins have already done that. So I wanted to do a story on the significance of sports logos and what they mean to me, DJ. And one of the biggest, and you'll see more in the story, but one of the logos of most significance, probably the most significant one, was the Chief Wahoo Indians logo, because the Indians were my first love in Cleveland in the 90s. The Cavaliers were really bad at that time, pre-LeBron. I think they had like 1 year where they like made the 8th seed and they lost in the first round. But the Cavs were bad. There was no Browns. So we rooted for the Panthers and Jaguars in my house. But anyway, the logo thing, DJ, as far as Chief Wahoo goes, it's one of those things where I kind of have mixed emotions on it, because it's one of those things where I have a sentimental attachment to the logo, because when I would see the logo as a kid, it'd be like, yeah, like time for Indians baseball, and get me excited for the game. And I used to think as a kid, because in the logo the Indian is smiling, that it was a good representation of Indians and things like that. But as times evolve, I get the fact that there are certain things that I'll never be offended by, but if my grandma, like for example, if I put on some rap music, I'm definitely not offended by it, but if my grandma's in the room, she probably would be offended by it. So I get that part of it, DJ, but I also feel like we've become a little too politically correct, for lack of a better term, and a little too sensitive in this country. I just feel like 10, 20 years from now, we could be heading down a road where, you know, people are arguing and debating, should we even have champions anymore?
That's a great point.
So it was something I put a lot of passion into, DJ, and I don't know, like, I consider myself a pretty progressive person, and I like to evolve with the times, but Chief Wahoo will always have a special place in my sports memory, and I think it's just one of those things where we are, to be blunt, DJ, and for lack of a better term, I just feel like people are just a little too soft now. Like, I feel like people, you gotta have a little bit of thicker skin. But
yeah, and I guess, and I can't wait for this story to come out. I'm actually really excited, and usually we like to tread water on these a little bit, and we don't like to stand up in political climates because we're a sports company. But I think when you make it about sports, I don't think that any of these are seen in a negative light. I think that's the problem, is we as a society have started to look everything in a negative light. Like, we look everything with a magnifying scope, and we look in okay, this is a bad thing. To me, the Indians, even the Redskins, you look at, these were glorifying these teams. Like, you want to be intimidating. You want to be someone that represents positively on a culture and on society. Now, naturally, I'm not a Native American, but it's one of those things where I get it and I don't. Like, I would love, like, everybody always says, and again, I don't want to offend anybody, but how would you feel if it was the Cleveland Caucasians? I'd be proud of that. Like, you own it. You know what I mean? It's one of those, own it. Like, that someone wants to use my likeness as a positive thing. Okay, let's go. Like, that's why I'm an Indians fan on one side. You talk about the AL versus NL. I was an Indians fan for a long time because they were local. They were regional. The fact that they were Chief Wahoo had nothing to do with it. I saw it as a positive. Like, I didn't even think to myself what it represents. I saw it as, like, when I think of Indians, I think of Albert Bell. I think Kenny Lofton. I think Carlos Baerga. I think Jim Thome. I think, Francisco Lindor. I think of Victor Martinez. That's what I think of, because that is my tribe, right? When I think of the Washington Redskins, Art Monk, you think of Mark Rippon, you think of all these different, that's what I think. I don't think of the connotation that it represents. And I think we're diving too far down the rabbit hole a little bit because maybe we just want to argue. You know, Quinn and I, listen, at the end of the show, we're not going to hug or anything like that, but it's one of those things where I know where Quinn's coming from. He knows where I'm coming from. You guys, when we argue, at the end of the day, it's debate, and we're all friends at the end of it. This society, and I hate to keep pointing the finger, when did it become okay that you're wrong and I hate your guts because you have an opinion that's not mine?
Americans hating Americans.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It's crazy. Like, you're allowed the debate of, as much as it drives me insane because we spin our wheels, the debate of LeBron versus Michael is Americana.
Yeah,
You're allowed to have your favorite player. I'm allowed to have my favorite, greatest of all time. Whatever we're arguing.
Quinn's allowed to be right. You're allowed to be wrong.
That's
exactly.
I agree with the concept. I had to be careful how I phrase that. It's one of those things where Scotty, this article means more to me than just your favorite logos, and I hope you know that. And that's why I was like, yes, let's do this. With that being said, I know Chief Wahoo's on the list. What other ones are on this list that people can look forward to reading about tomorrow?
Well, because Cleveland sports, like, it's been a thing that's just been so influential throughout my life, and it's part of I was brainwashed because of my dad to be a
cool dad.
He grew up a Cleveland sports fan, and he kind of instilled it in me that I had to be a fan. So I go through the Cavs and the Browns too, and I talk about how their logos aren't as quite as significant, but from my childhood, some of my earliest memories and things like that, they do still mean a lot to me. So I talk about the Cleveland teams too, and I think the first pro basketball game I saw was the Cavs at YSU. They played an exhibition game, taking on Michael Redd and the Milwaukee Bucks. But I went Cleveland, and then locally, DJ, I went with YSU. I remember the championship game, the national championship winner, the 10-9 game in 1997, and I went to my first Penguins game in the early 2000s. So I talked about what the Y meant to me and the YSU logo and Pete the Penguin. And then I also talked about the place I grew up, Camel Memorial, the Camel Memorial Red Devils, and my favorite color combination, by the way, red and black, is
now we'll get to that in a minute.
My favorite color combo. I talked about how, like, that logo of the devil was so, it just was one of the logos, like, I'll never forget as a kid. Now they have the Memorial M on the helmet.
The Miami.
So it's a little different, but I still think that logo's meaningful because it makes me think of my last name, Mincher, and it's just cool there. And the last team was my alma mater, my Lowville Rockets. And I just talked about how the first year we moved to Lowville, before I even went to school one day, their football team was coming off an undefeated regular season and a trip to the second round of the playoffs. And I talked about what being a Rocket was like, sharing my own personal experiences at games and what that logo meant to me. So that's the gist of the story, what was in the story, and what those logos mean. I tried to incorporate a little bit of everything. The big boys, pro sports, some college, and then I got the high school level as well. I'm really, it's something I really enjoyed doing, and I had it just felt like fun. It didn't feel like work at all when I was typing out the story. I didn't have to, just really. I never at one point felt like I was gonna have a headache.
Not forced.
I didn't know where I was going next. It didn't feel forced. So
the usual stress.
Yeah, I know. Usual stress. Scotty, you got a story in now. Guys, when you're looking at logos and you're talking about the ones that you just appreciate and love the most, let's go across the table and say some of our favorite logos in sports. Dave, I know you got a nice list there.
Oh, yeah. I got one of my favorite uniform logos in sports. First of all, I'm going to start hockey because that's the least I know about.
Okay.
The Toronto Maple Leaf on the blue.
Awesome.
My favorite. And also the red and the Senators.
Ooh.
With the Centenary with the Roman helmet on.
I like that one.
I
That's
love
a good
that
call.
logo. Those are my two favorite hockey. I like the Dolphins uniforms.
Now, the uniforms or the logo?
I like the logo and...
Okay, so are you talking about the new wave Dolphin or the old school like Dan Marino Dolphin with the helmet?
With the Dolphins flying through the hoop.
Okay, gotcha. Now, with or without the helmet? Because that's the difference in it. The new school has like the streamlined Dolphin.
I like the helmet.
You like the helmet? Okay, all right, I can get on that.
And we can go with the old Patriots too. The
What
Minuteman.
Patriot? What's
The guy with
Centering the football.
Gotcha. Yeah, I love that. That's a good one. That's a good one.
NBA uniforms. My favorites are the Brooklyn Nets.
Ooh, the black ones.
Love them.
All black.
Love them.
Oh,
And the Portland Trailblazers. There's your black on red.
wow.
I love the.
Those are off the beaten path a little bit.
I love the Blazers uniforms.
Okay, on.
Baseball, I like the white A's uniforms with the green lettering, the gold trim.
Oh, you stole my thunder.
With the white
Is that
shoes.
gold or just yellow?
Yellow.
I hate
And
that
I also
discussion.
like the white Phillies uniforms
Pinstripe.
with the red.
Not
Philly.
the cream.
You don't like the baby, all baby blue?
Oh, the Greg Luzinski, Mike Schmidt era. No, and I have Cleveland for all of them.
Yeah, naturally.
I also like the white Red Sox uniforms.
Oh yeah. No names.
Blue.
Yep.
No
No,
names.
no names. I love
My
it.
favorite.
That's a good list. That's a real good list.
And of course, Cardinals too, because
But you couldn't say it.
Trevor
Naturally.
Mooney, Arizona.
Cardinals.
Yeah. All right.
Scotty, give me. What are your best logos in sports?
Well,
Other than the ones you listed.
Other than the ones I listed, I have to go. If we're going NHL, DJ, I really like the classic Red Wings look, the red jersey of the Red Wings. I also really like, to give you that local connection, I really like the Penguins and the Blue Jackets jerseys.
Okay.
Both there. I really do like those a lot. And I like the New York Islanders.
The blue and orange.
The blue, yeah, I like those a lot too. The Blackhawks.
All right,
is
you're
a
naming
good-
half the league now.
I
Scott just
have
likes
the
all NHL ones.
Blackhawks.
Scotty just likes the NHL. He likes
no,
sweaters.
those are what, about 4 or 5 I
I am
need.
getting a Kyrie
NHL.
Are you?
Um,
I am.
Oh
I might
god.
have you order it for me.
I don't know where to get
You
that.
know the guys.
Major League Baseball. Dave stole a little of my thunder. I love the Athletics. They're my favorite, but my favorite is the green jersey.
Oh, okay.
With the Oakland and the A's. So I love the Athletics baseball. Used to really like the Indians, more so in the 90s, and since they took off Oahu,
You took their freebie.
I don't. Yeah, I took their freebie. I don't like the Indians as much since there's no logo on the sleeve. But baseball, I love the fact that the San Diego Padres are bringing back the brown. I love those jerseys.
As my wife would say, they brought back the poop and pee uniforms because it's brown and yellow. There's no worse.
Oh, I love them, man. I think they're great. And I really like the White Sox the white and black, the
black tops
jerseys.
and the penny bottoms, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good one.
Those are my top 3 for baseball. The NBA, I used to really like that. I still do like the Cavaliers, although I wish I missed the navy, that navy blue jersey.
Big fan.
I thought those were sick, and they debuted those LeBron's first go around. So I miss those.
They did. That was in the finals, right? Or no, that playoff
Pistons.
run.
It was the Pistons.
Yeah, those were my favorites.
Yeah, those were some great jerseys. Other ones in the NBA off the top of my head, I'd have to agree with Dave just because I like the red and black. I like the Blazers.
Do you like the ones that say Rip City across the I'm a big fan of the Rip City.
Yeah, I do like the Rip City ones, and I really like the Bulls, the classic, the black jersey.
Now, are you talking black, just the black jerseys, or the black with the red pinstripes?
I think just the black ones. I'm talking about.
It's like the blue and white Rams jerseys.
Oh.
Just all blue and white.
I can't get behind that one. I'm sorry.
And for NFL,
shoot your shot.
Obviously, I like the Browns. I mean, it's just something like I don't know though.
Do you just like
orange
brown?
And brown. Yeah, I just like the.
You would have fit in well here.
Combo. What'd you say?
You would have fit in well in East Palestine.
Yeah, because I like the Padres, I like the Browns, but I still think in their new uniforms, they're even better. The more modern ones, the San Diego or now LA, they're just straight fire.
You like those
love
ones?
Those jerseys, and I have to agree with you, DJ. The new Patriots are just awesome, and I love the Chicago Bear, just the classic look of the C and the helmet and the Chicago Bears. So those are mine.
All right.
Jerseys.
Quinn, go ahead.
All right, so I guess we're starting with hockey. I agree with Scotty. I like the Red Wings, the all red. It's just, it looks good, and it's historical, I guess. The powdered blue Penguins ones that they came out with late in the, I think it was 08, somewhere in that range.
Was the
it's a powdered blue
outside game,
yeah,
whatever they call that, the Winter
or
Classic.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like those ones. And then I always like the Flyers, the orange with the black nameplate.
Get the
I don't know
hell
why.
outta here.
I always liked the way it
Leave.
looked. I don't like the Flyers by any means. I just like the way it looked.
You can't even say that.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't like the Flyers by any means. I'm a Pens fan, but I always like the black nameplate with the white lettering and the orange. Yeah, it was something different.
I couldn't imagine saying that.
Um,
And going to
baseball,
sleep.
you're gonna really hate me again, but I love the Yankees, the pinstripes.
Why would I
they
hate
just
that?
Look good.
I like
It just
the
looks good. Same with the Cubs pinstripes. They just look good. I don't know why.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
They look
Pinstripes
good.
is baseball.
Yeah,
Slim.
maybe that's why.
If you're slim.
Yeah, anything that can make guys look slim, I guess. Then I always like the Reds with Griffey, the vest.
The sleeveless.
The vest.
Yes.
Yeah, the vest with Griffey.
Now let me ask you this: there's two different mindsets on this because the Reds, the all red hats, and then you had the black hats with the red bill, with the red C with the white shadow.
Mhm.
Are you a fan of that?
Yep.
All right. That's,
The all red.
We just
I wasn't
agreed.
a big all red guy.
Whoever thought that would ever happen.
And it helped that you had Griffey. Griffey
I
Griffey
feel
made
like
any uniform look good.
We should play a sound of like God intervene. You and Quinn just agreed.
Yeah, Griffey made anything look good. He made those Futures uniforms look good, which is tough to do.
Oh.
Granted, Albert Bell did it too with those.
Well,
He looked like a
I don't
tree
think you'd
trunk
ever.
arms,
I don't
but-
think you'd ever argue that Albert Bell made anything look bad.
Yeah.
To him at least.
So those were those baseball, basketball, Cavs, Blues.
Yep.
Fantastic. They
Yep.
should go back to those. Helps when LeBron goes for 48 in the Palace, but they look good. They look great.
Quinn, I'm sorry, but it just got me thinking of something. What do you think of the black jerseys with the C, because I didn't initially like the black jerseys, and then we won the title.
With the sleeves?
You mean the ones where LeBron rips off the sleeves?
Yeah, so it's like they grew on me because we won a championship in them. But what do you think?
To me, they look like a guy down in the middle of nowhere just screen printed a bunch of jerseys and said, "Here, wear those."
If I'm being honest, if I'm being honest, they kind of look like what I would think WNBA jerseys would look like. You know what I mean? Like
it's like a T-shirt.
Yeah,
jersey.
they always
it's bad.
They're always trying to think forward, and I think they just I don't know how that ended up being their Game 7 championship.
Because they wanted it. They wore it the first time and they won, and they just kept wearing it. They just kept wearing it.
I
streaky. I get it, but
not a fan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Did
not.
they
a fan.
have the blues available? Like that's my but they had.
They had the throwback to the powder blue, like the late '90s.
Because they had
those ones. I got the shorts for those.
The ugliest uniforms were the ones when LeBron left and they redid their design.
Blue, black, and orange.
The Comic Sans font.
Yeah, those, and they brought those back this past year. I don't know if you knew, but they wore them a few games, and you could get
Electric
the jersey
blue.
at the. What did you guys think? I like the original. The
90s ones?
The 70s ones.
God, no.
With the checkered.
No, I was not
thought
a fan.
you didn't like
I know they've talked
White and gold.
Yeah, no.
See, I know they've talked about this a few times on this show. Is those blue and orange jerseys, the days of the 80s and 90s.
I have a T-shirt I bought at the
My favorite.
Those still hurt.
My favorite still the black uniform, the Sean Kemps as people call them.
Late '90s.
I love
electric blue.
Love them.
They made those came back this year.
I know, and I think that it's one of those that you look at and you go, well, that's a pretty sharp. Yeah.
So the Cavs Blues. I love the Lakers uniforms. I always have. Iconic. They're just they're an iconic thing. It's like the Celtics. I love them.
It doesn't hurt that you coached for the Lakers.
That helps too, but no, in all honesty, like those have standed the test of time since the 50s.
All into the Lakers this year,
they're from the 50s and they still look good. So I'm all in on them.
I'm going to pull the Browns fan, anybody but the Lakers, because I can do it to the Lakers.
So another one, that uniform right back there on Michael. That whole thing just works. It has nothing to do with the Bulls at all. It's because he wore it. It just works. If it works, that's all I'm saying with that. And then I love the Jazz purple warm-ups.
Yep,
love those. Uniforms stunk.
Oh, I like the mountains on them.
The mountains, cool. Yeah, it's all about the warm-up for me. Uniforms were terrible because Stockton made everybody wear short shorts in the 90s, and it was just.
It was Stockton's call?
It was Stockton that made it.
See, I thought that was just an agreed-upon thing.
No. So that's basketball for me. And then football, the Browns, the new ones in the early 2000s, that striped combo, I love that. The red Patriots uniforms from 07-ish, 08, whenever they just beat the hell out of the Titans.
Yeah.
That uniform. That looks good. The Chargers powdered blue with LaDainian Tomlinson.
Okay.
That looks great to me. And then the new Colts uniforms.
Yes.
The new Colts whatever they did, it's fantastic.
Well, I feel like they actually had somebody that knew what they were doing that could pay homage, as borrow your word, Dave, as pay homage to the past while looking towards the future. Because I got to be honest, Nike has done a terrible job with jerseys thus far, to the point where the Browns have needed 2 jerseys in the last 7 years.
Yeah, that first time they gave like $1 million to somebody.
Bad.
It was like they paid $1 million and they came up with that first set.
The 2015 set was just
Johnny Manziel came in and it was like, hey, you look like this at Texas A&M. Let's just throw brown and orange on it and call it a day. It was bad, and that's why I hope when I look at my favorite jerseys and logos. I hope they never touch the Steelers. I'm not a huge fan. I was never a huge fan of the actual Steelers logo. And I hate to even do this. Yeah, so this one, like the actual steel logo that they put Steelers on. Never a huge fan. But you know what? Over time, it becomes a brand, right? And to build a brand, you can't be changing it all the time, and there comes an expectation. So For football, I know we went to jerseys, but we were supposed to be doing logos. For me, it's the Steelers logo in the NFL. Not because I'm a Steelers fan. They do.
Yeah.
And it's a funny story because
I enjoy that, but
they could only afford.
Stupid.
Why do you think it's stupid?
It's just dumb. You can only
Twice as much
afford,
as money
if
in
you
the
only
ground,
afford
they can
one
afford
side, leave it off. The all black and yellow helmet would look pretty good.
No, because we actually like logos where we come from, and we're not elves or dogs or whatever the hell you guys
so
are
let's
this
just
year.
put it on one side.
Well, they only had the amount of money. They only had the budget for one side of the helmet, so they all stuck it on their right side of their helmet. And I think it's kind of cool because on one side of the field, like you can have two photographers taking the same exact picture at the 50-yard line when they line up, and on this side of the field, you have all the logos on their helmet. On the other side, it's a completely different picture. It's not the same picture. And it's tradition. The same way that tradition is that the Browns don't get their stripes. Where do you think they got that from? They got that from the Steelers
That was
because
the dumbest thing in the world too.
the Steelers don't give their numbers out.
You got to earn your stripes. The Browns shouldn't have stripes then.
Okay. Well, Quinn's back, guys.
They came out with they
he
came
had a
out
good
with-
segment right
Listen,
there, and
they
then he
came out with
completely
that
came
thing
back.
when they went 0-16.
Did you like black out like for a moment, like when
No,
Frank the Tank
it's
does
the
in
same-
old school, and just
No, because the
have
Browns
great
released "You'll earn your stripes." They went 0-16 that year. They shouldn't have had. They shouldn't have had stripes.
They play like a Brown.
Yeah, no stripes. You don't deserve it.
I
can't beat the damn Jets. Really? Come on.
No, you can't.
Come on.
And the fact that you celebrated it just tells you.
I didn't celebrate it.
Well,
I got a Pittsburgh Steelers trivia question for you.
all right, let's go to a trivia question. We'll take a break. Dave, what's the trivia question?
The Steelers have played in 8 Super Bowls.
Correct.
They've had 3 featured backs in those 8 Super Bowls. Name the 3 backs.
All right, we'll get to that answer when we come back. If you would like to chime in on that answer, give us a call on the YSN hotline. What the hell? Let's put a free shirt on the line. If you've got the answer, 330-886-0813. One more time, the question?
Actually, there are 4 running backs in the 8 Super Bowls that the Steelers played in. 4 featured running backs. Name the 4 running backs that played in Super Bowls for the Steelers.
If we don't get any calls by the time we come back, I'm going to take a shot at it. All right. So we'll be back after this on Running Point.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Look, I'm living the dream. Platform shoes, straight down the street. It's gonna get hot in here. I hope you can handle the heat.
Over the years, you watched us grow, and as we've done, so has the Myers Family Insurance team.
Thanks to all of you who have trusted our families to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now. For years to come, so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
They say American craftsmanship is making a comeback. Of course, at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, it never went away.
People are floored by Baird Brothers' authentic hardwood floors. They stare at our stairs, and adore our doors. Baird Brothers reflects 3 generations of family craftsmanship. Visit our huge in-stock selection in person or at BairdBrothers.com.
Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Running Point. DJ Oakley with you here. Appreciate you guys joining us here on this Wednesday. Got about a half hour left. And a special thanks to our special guests on the other side of the table, Dave O'Malley and Scott Mincher. And Quinn, we'll get to you in a little bit. We still got some work to do, cut out for us here today. Everybody knows you anyway. So, Scott, for those people meeting you for the first time, maybe tell us a little bit about why you love sports so much.
Well, DJ, I'm glad you asked. I think the reason why I love sports so much is that it was always just, it came natural to me. Because I wasn't able to participate in athletics because of being born with a disability, and my disability is cerebral palsy, by the way, for those that are wondering. But it's just one of those things, like, I always got enjoyment of watching games on TV, watching games, and even playing sports video games. I did an article on that a little while back. It's just something that from day one, I think my dad, because he was such a big sports fan, and when I would watch those games, it sounds really funny, but I would feel like I was a part of the team, like I was helping. When I watched Michael Jordan and he win a title, I was helping the Bulls win that title because I was a fan. I've always just loved that part of it, and it's something, DJ, that I think the players have taken for granted, and whether they admit it or not, I think you're going to see players this year with all these plans for sports without fans. I think they're really going to miss that atmosphere and the fans in the stands.
No, I'm with you. And you said you love being a part of that team. Well, we love having you here and being a part of our team for the last year or so, Scotty. So you've been a part of the team. Now we're able to showcase you a little bit more. But a guy we're excited to showcase here, Dave O'Malley. Yeah, see, we shocked you. Dave, give a little bit of your background, why you love sports, and you guys talk about why.
Like Scotty, it's very inherent. I mean, just earliest memories, uncles, always sports on. But I read a paper on sports addiction, and there's actual a chemical that is released when you watch a sports game, and your brain conditions yourself to that. So anytime it sees sports, your brain tells you that that chemical can be released, and it's an addiction, and you can keep watching sports over and over to regain that feeling that you first got. Wow. And I read this thing, and I'm addicted.
Yeah.
I watch sports, and I can feel the feelings that I've had for my whole life, and that's what that is. And and our brains chase that. So I love sports.
What I mean, you come here all the time to just. I mean, you come here every Wednesday, right? We've changed it a few times, and you said there's something.
Try not to force myself on you guys.
there's something special about when you walk through those doors. You always say, and you guys look forward. Tuesday night, it's hard for you to sleep because you know what you're doing on Wednesday. Talk about the excitement that you have with YSN and your part.
I love it here. I mean, immediately I took to you guys, and me and Scotty, on the way up here, we throw back ideas. We talk sports the whole way up, and we were listening to sports radio. They don't have that anymore. It's all about the virus now on the sports radio shows. But so we get really excited. I mean, and I look forward to it.
So you get a personal plug here. What you have a radio show every Wednesday night.
I do a show on Wednesday. I'll be doing a show tonight actually on goldenstringradio.org. Check it out. Scotty is a part of that. He does shows during the day, but check out goldenstringradio.org, and that's where we're from. And but all media is exciting.
Not to take the spotlight away from Dave, but my show DJ is.
Please. Boom! Nice transition.
My show is on from, except Wednesdays when I'm here. The other 4 days during the week, I'm on from 12 to about 1:30 on Golden String Radio, and I talk everything from sports to movies to weird news and music. So
what's your favorite part of being a host, whether it be here or writing your articles or being on Golden String? What's your favorite part of it?
I'm a personable guy, DJ.
Sure.
I love people, so I think that's my favorite part of it, just letting your voice be heard and interacting. And for me, I know there's people that probably say this, and I'm not one to, give myself pats on the back. For me, it's not really, it sounds cliche, but whether there's 100 people listening or there's one person listening, I always try to be authentic and be the same. And that's my favorite part is I just love sharing with people stories and hearing from them feedback too, because we take callers at Golden String Radio too.
Absolutely.
That's what I love most.
All right, so naturally, guys, we love having you here. We talked about this yesterday about this takeover, given a certain circumstance that we're under right now, and being able to fill in for Ron. I thought it was a great idea. I was so happy when you guys said
how we did so far.
It was a hell yes. That was the answer we got. And I mean, Dave, I think it took you about 30 seconds to say we're in.
I said we're in.
Yeah, I mean, and this has been a great experience, and we're looking forward to next Wednesday as well. So if you have questions out there that you have for Scotty or Dave or just kind of you want to talk about a history buff, the guy there on the bottom part of your screen in the blue shirt, Dave O'Malley, the history buff. We haven't got any callers yet for the trivia questions, so let's give it one more time before we break. And again, on the line is a YSN t-shirt. You can have your choice of the word mark or the YSN shield if you get this question correct. Dave, go ahead.
The Pittsburgh Steelers played in 8 Super Bowls. I want to know the name of the 4 featured backs in those 8 Super Bowls.
And we nailed it here during the break.
They nailed it quick.
Quinn drilled it. So it was like a Jeff Reed at Sheets run. He hit that towel dispenser so hard, nailed it, bullseye. So hoping you can get it. So let's see if we can give a free T-shirt away here to the first caller, 330-886-0813 with that answer. If not, that's okay too. We'll just save it for another day. Guys,
you get the T-shirt.
I got enough T-shirts to be quite honest with you, but I'll always take another one. I'm not going to lie to you. And we try to represent. It's either going to be a jersey or it's going to be someone that is helping us out along the way as a sponsor. So one of the things we talked about in the pre-show was an interesting question. We learned a little bit ago that the NBA in their bubble down in Disney is going to kind of take things to the next level with technology. They're going to have 20-plus cameras on each court. So you look at how many courts there are, 20-some courts that they're going to be utilizing down in Disney World. What can other sports do to kind of piggyback off what the NBA is doing. Because when you think about 20 cameras, I don't know if anybody out in La La Land understands, but you can do a lot with 20 cameras that you can't during a regular season basketball game, even a postseason basketball game.
You can put them anywhere.
You can put them anywhere. They can capture sound. They can, because there's no fans, right? You look at that. There's a lot of things that you'll be able to do. So my question to you guys is there a way that innovatively that other leagues can kind of piggyback off this and bring a little bit of an uptick in technology to their particular sport? Baseball being the gator closest to the boat, I'd love to hear that. Also with football being the having the popularity it does, what else would you want to see from these sports? Scotty, let's start with you.
Well, baseball for me, DJ, since you brought it up, we had a very engaging conversation, I think it was a week or two ago on my podcast, and we talked about, and we've discussed it before, we talked about how we think baseball does a very poor job of marketing their players. So I think, DJ, especially with COVID and no fans, I know it was proposed for Major League Baseball. I don't think it got approved, but I think miking these guys up and being able to hear them, I think that would be something that would really be cool. And just, going into it, I think they could say to guys, hey, be as colorful and animated as you want. Like, we want to hear from you. And even if they swear or whatever, they could bleep it out. I just think something like that would be really cool. What are your thoughts?
No, I'm with you. I think miking up is the way to go. I think there is a real risk because I think that there's some exchanges I would want to hear, but I probably don't want my 3-year-old daughters to partake in some of that. But that's sports, right? That's the language we list. It's the love, it's the anger. I mean, if you watch that Jordan documentary, and hate to break, you saw the real deal. Like, this is what it is, And anybody, with all due respect, anybody that watched the censored version of that documentary did themselves an injustice. They really did. I think if you're gonna immerse yourself in that, you've got to completely go underwater and go into the darkness and hear the words. And what do they always call it? The devil's language. I get it. I understand it. But again, it goes back to being offended. I'm not offended by bad language. They're words. Words don't hurt me. You know what I mean? They talk about that all the time. So if you're offended by words, I can imagine what a punch in the face is going to feel like for you whenever life does it to you. But I'm with you, Scotty. I think that mic'd up would be awesome. I'm the first to sign up for mic'd up whenever I would love for the Steelers to do what's it called with HBO? The Hard Knocks. I would love for it. I know it'll probably never happen.
I thought the Browns, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Browns fan, DJ, but the one this past year with the Raiders, I thought it was kind of it fell off par, but the one they did on the Browns a couple of seasons ago, I thought it was fantastic. And the Browns still they do
their own.
Their own, but I don't think it's quite as good. It's okay.
No,
but
I think
the Raiders one was bad because Gruden's kind of mellowed out from his older days.
Here's my thing, and
if it was old Gruden, it would have been fantastic.
They signed everybody.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, and I might be completely alone on this, but when I watch those and I watch them in binge form, I start to root for that team. I found myself rooting for the Rams. That's why I didn't watch the Browns one. I'm going to be dead honest with you. I watched the Bengals one, and James Harrison was there, and it was everything I ever wanted to know about James Harrison, and probably a little bit more. But I find myself attaching myself, a part of me, right, to that, and typically it winds up in me playing with them in Madden. And trying to play out the storylines as they occur, but that's the thing is I think that's part of it, right? That's when you're a casual fan, as we have so many in America, the buy-in to those teams, that's what this is for. You know what I mean? To get those behind the scenes, like when we did the behind the scenes with Lisbon basketball, I've never had so many compliments, and people say, man, I want to see what Chris Huxell can do. Some of the behind the scenes in the locker room stuff. When we do it with next or Level Up, it's really cool to see the way teams differentiate themselves from each other. You know, the coaches that are you think are real, you know what, a-holes. The way they connect with your son or daughter in that locker room, the way that when they hurt, the coaches hurt. And Quinn, you're in the locker room. You're in every meeting, every conversation. There's, I think, more of that would build a stronger loyalty to these teams. And in a world where we feel like we're attached to players, I feel like more of these, the mic'd ups, you'd see more personalities and you'd attach yourself to the team a little bit more. I think you still attach yourself to a particular player, given how they represent themselves, or if you identify with one of them. But I think that the teams would have a little bit more engagement as well. Quinn, your take on kind of the mic'd up.
Weren't the Steelers the first one to actually do that, though? Like, in all reality, weren't they the first ones to ever do, like, a mic'd up thing?
I don't know. Mic'd up,
like,
maybe.
Player-wise, I thought I read somewhere, saw a video on YouTube, maybe. Like, they were the first ones to ever do it.
I don't know. I have a hard time believing it.
I've seen it throughout my life. Once in a while, they'll mic up a guy, do a real close.
I feel like they were, like, the first ones to ever do it. I could be wrong. I don't know. But, no,
I don't give credit for things you don't know.
How dare listen, you? It was back when the Steelers stunk. I do know that. It was way back when they had those ugly uniforms with the white shoulders on them.
Oh, we're talking
way back. Okay. Like, they were the first to legitimately ever do it. Like,
what?
Yeah, like the Steelers. There was like a defensive lineman, I think, was the first one to ever do it.
White shoulders.
Yeah, the uniforms. They had the white pants. I can remember the pants because they were ugly as sin.
The year after they cut Johnny Unitas.
They were like straight yellow pants with a white jersey and yellow on their shoulders. It was way back when they stunk.
But that, I don't buy them because the microphones, like you don't have lavs like you do today.
Well, it wasn't anything good. I could imagine, but no, mic'd up is, I like it. I think that'd be good for baseball. I mean, baseball's tough to do stuff like, because the action isn't all there. Like, you could hit a ball 400 feet and you could bunt the next play. So like, it's not all right in front of you. No, but like legitimately, like camera-wise, like the 20 cameras for basketball is going to be good because it's all centered in a box, if you think about it.
And how many angles of a foul ball do you go?
Yeah, like I don't need to see 900 feet foul balls. I don't. It doesn't do anything.
Well, they don't follow the foul balls usually.
But it's a concept, like a home run. Like, okay.
Who cares about a home run?
I don't need 20 angles of it.
Why not?
The way it works now is fine. It works. Do other things, like Scotty said. Do other things to market your players better. That's where you need
so
it.
many things I can't even begin to.
Yeah, like there's plenty of issues with baseball in my mind.
What's that?
But the most unwatchable sport for me is hockey. So I'm thinking
on TV or in general.
I remember hockey tried to do that.
Oh.
I remember hockey trying to do something.
I saw the Phantoms play down at the Cavelli Center.
I would bite your tongue until you see it live.
TV.
I love
Neon.
it live. I
Hockey
can't
on
do
live
it
is
on
pretty
TV.
sweet.
Neon around the board, neon around the goal, and the puck neon.
They tried to do that.
The glow puck?
They tried to do the glow puck thing.
Glow puck was
terrible. It was terrible.
They followed the actual puck on the ice.
Yeah, it was called the glow puck, and they had almost like a comet tail on it, so it showed how hard
Is
and
that
the velocity.
Does that happen in real life too?
Yeah.
I thought that was just a TV trick.
No, it's a TV trick, but you can't do it in real life.
I'm talking about a real neon puck live.
Oh, jeez.
But how would you see it off the ice? Like that, there's a reason the puck is black.
Neon. Okay. Football.
All right.
I don't understand in this high-tech age why we still have two guys running out of the field with sticks and a chain to measure first downs.
Yeah, the chain gang. I'm with you on this one.
Is that tradition?
I think they try. I mean, they're trying with.
What are you going to do in person, though?
Listen, we talked about it during the break a little bit. You talk about grass, you talk about turf. The next generation, the next evolution of this is turf that can change color. You can control it like the basketball.
Yeah.
If you have the ability to do it, you could shut the lights down like they do in LA, the house lights, light up the entire football field in natural, and then you have the actual lights like they do on the basketball court. I don't know how the hell you do it. It makes sense in my head, but the way they do it on TV, and they always preface it by saying it's what, the unofficial yard markers. There's no reason they can't do that the same way.
Yeah, the yellow. Actually, see it.
I would love it because then you know that when it crosses, like you could put a microchip in the football. It'd be so easy to put a microchip in that football that you go from one place to it and it's exactly 10 yards, like to the millimeter. And if you get that nose across the football, first down, or nose across that line, first down. Yeah. I'm with you, man. I don't.
Those flag guys would have a great union because I don't know how they're still around.
I'm with you.
And in basketball, did you not love the All-Star game when they picked a number that you had to go to?
No.
Oh, I
couldn't
loved
stand
that.
it.
I
can't.
What?
Let me tell you straight out. I can't stand the NBA All-Star game in general.
I did it until this year.
I can't do it. I hate the All-Star.
After the third quarter, they took a composite of the scores.
Yeah, 24.
The first team to make it to one. That means the team that was down played defense to keep the other team. It was great.
What did they do? Make it take it?
No, it was the NBA's way of making them play defense.
No time.
Instead of having 200 to 180 games, they made it a certain way to basically make them play.
Is that why you hate the
defense.
game?
Yeah, it was stupid. The All-Star game's stupid. There's no defense, and it's terrible.
Is there anything that they can do to make soccer more watchable on television?
No, absolutely not.
It's a select market as it is.
With all due respect, and America has tried to embrace this so many times. I just can't do it. Like I have a hard time. I called a game last year, and I really want YSN to adopt soccer, but there's nobody that is willing to call those games because either they don't have the knowledge to do it, or they don't have the patience.
Well, it's a European sport.
It is a European
It's like
sport.
football in Europe.
But everybody looks at me
American
and says hockey. Like we will. Listen, I am all about hockey, and I'll be honest with you. When lacrosse, like we're all in on lacrosse. We love. Once I figure out how the hell to call it, we're in. We're in. I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules to soccer, and I sure as hell don't know the rules to everything hockey. But I'll tell you this: watching hockey is fast. It's a smaller space. It's fast.
It's too fast.
And soccer's just too slow for me. There's not enough offense.
Soccer's a lot like baseball, where it's better when you're in person than it is on TV.
I would disagree with that.
So you
maybe, but I say this. I'm a baseball fan and player, and I know but I think there's a lot more action. There's more action in baseball than there is football. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, people give baseball a bad look because, and it's the same way in soccer. I'll 100% back the soccer fans and soccer players, soccer coaches. You have to appreciate the game because you played it. Yeah. I played it when I was little, and we were scoring like 10 goals a game, and I loved it. And then they make that step, and it's like, oh, man, I don't like this 1-0 stuff. I don't like tying. Nope, sorry. Hard pass. I have a problem with ties in baseball now. You know, we do see all the time. Every night, playoffs start tonight. I don't like ties. I don't. I think that it affects the game. I think it affects the strategy. You play to win.
What's the ruling in playoffs for ties and time limit?
I will find out tonight. I don't know.
Like, why wouldn't they do that all year?
What?
The same rules for playoffs.
Because playoffs, there's something at the end. It's a championship.
Aren't you fighting for the playoff spot then?
Yeah, so you don't want to tie.
Right, so why wouldn't they make it no ties, like the same tie rule for the playoffs?
There's no ties in the playoffs.
Yeah.
How do you...
Oh, that's what I'm saying. If there's no ties in the playoffs, why couldn't you do the same ruling throughout the year to get used to it or whatever?
Because there's a time limit.
There's no time limit in playoffs?
Baseball, they do have ties.
I don't know if they have ties or time limits tonight or not, or through the. I would assume not.
I'm just asking because I don't know.
Well, it wouldn't make sense because you have to advance.
Yeah.
Like you're playing series. So right. How do you advance a team?
So all the rules are basically gone. It's back to regular baseball, in theory.
No, because there might be an opportunity. We talked about this before with the international. I don't know if they're doing international rules or not. Man, that'd be awesome. Mm-hmm. And I hope that's the case. But again, ties. Nobody wants to watch a tie. Like you want to watch a distinct winner and loser. Like play to win the game. Don't play to tie. But
thanks, Herm.
There's a strategy. There's a strategy during the regular season if you know ties are available.
Yeah.
You can take time. You mean if you know that you're playing the number one team, and you can knock them out, or you're playing if you're 5-6, and tying isn't going to affect your record, but it affects theirs. There's a strategy goes into that. So hopefully there's no ties. I can't see there being ties in playoff.
It sounds like to me you like ties incorporated.
No. I just think that when there's a way out, and there's a way to strategize yourself to be affected positively by a tie, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
You're going to do it.
I think the NFL should have scrapped ties a long time ago.
I can get on board with that. I mean, NFL's there. Like
you can't. I don't agree with that.
What?
You like the tie?
You get 15 minutes. Score.
I know, but it's like you go to I went to the Brown Steelers tie. It was the worst experience of my life.
You mean to tell me you can't score?
Come on. Go right to the 2-minute drill.
Start kicking. Come on.
Well, that's the thing is if there's no ties allowed, you play to win the game.
Shootout. How about a kicking shootout?
That's the best. The shootout and the Texas shootout in baseball, where you put a runner on second, is the best way. And people are like, oh, who do you give who gives a crap who you give the earned run to? Are you playing for stats? Or are you playing for championships?
That means the first batter in extra innings is exciting.
Let's go.
Yeah,
that's my thing is if people played to win instead of played for second place or to tie, we'd be in a different society as a whole. We're all about the participation trophies. We're all about, hey, we were just as good as you were.
A lot of people approach things not to look bad.
Yes.
Instead of looking great.
Yes. Yeah. I respect the hell out of a coach that goes for the win.
Right.
You win the game? Spin that cycle down to third base.
Tom Osborne in the '84 Orange Bowl when he went against
So you're a fan of that guy in Texas that never punted? He would never punt.
Yeah.
I read that article.
High school football. Yeah, you saw it. Guy would never punt.
Play to win, man. And there's obviously we talked about the age groups.
How far do you take it though?
Well,
this guy in Texas was up 70 and he still wouldn't punt. He didn't care.
Yeah, but if it was me, I'm like, let's start these out now first.
Well, I mean, it's the way Jeff Brazil was. You live and die by the press. You're going to win by 30 or you're going to give up.
My thing is this: when you start changing your game to affect the other team in the score, to take your foot off the pedal, and somebody gets injured because they're not used to going 75%, how do you sleep at night? Yeah. Why is it? And I buy into the Jeff Brazil. Why is it my fault that my kids are playing? Yeah, you're supposed to take care of your kids. Mm-hmm. I understand that there's hurt feelings when the scores run up. I get it. I understand. But listen, in life, you're going to get your ass beat. Okay. And you either stand up, dust yourself off, and learn how to deal with it and get better.
Suck it up.
Or you just stay down and play dead.
And I think that's a great thing about sports, DJ, is I feel like you learn a lot more in losing in those experiences, trials, than
we must be the smartest people alive.
even winning. So it's.
But you have to learn from those experiences.
I don't know. I want to say that I'm not closed-minded. I get that I'm not Native American, so I can understand if they're offended by this Indians logo. But then part of me says, how far is this thing gonna go? Life's never been perfect.
I think it comes down to this, and I heard this on a talk show, and I probably agree with this more than anything I've ever heard. If you don't have a dog in the fight, stay out of the fight. You know what I mean? If you're not, if the whole Truth. BLM, the whole Indian thing, listen, I don't know where they're coming from, and I can't talk and listen at the same time. All they want is people to listen to understand where they're coming from. And I say they as anybody that's offended by anything. And we have a lot of that going on right now. There's a lot of sensitivity in the world. There's a lot of people pointing fingers at one another. I don't know where they are at, but on the flip side of that, they don't know where we are. They don't know where I am, So the best thing I can present to people, and I hate even saying this because it should be left unsaid, I feel like I'm talking to my girls, is just be kind. Just be kind to somebody else and understand that if somebody gets offended, it's not necessarily what you said. They could be having a bad day. They could be there's a lot of things that go into people being upset. Yeah, we're all onions right now, and because we live in the mixing pot of the world here in the United States of America. We just have to stay united without getting politically, on one side or the other.
And that's our issue right now is so many things. It's been division. And
that's politically driven. In my humble opinion, it's politically driven. And I think that we all just need to realize that nobody's out there to hurt one another. You shouldn't be judged by the color of your skin. You shouldn't be judged by who you take home. You shouldn't be judged. And there's only one judge in all of this, guys, and we'll all meet him someday. And ultimately, it's one of those things where sports is supposed to bring us together and divide us at the same time. But at the end of the day, it's a game. It's a game. We're all celebrating the fact that once we get it back, and baseball coming back on Thursday, Friday, man alive, it couldn't come back at a better time. We just need a little bit of a little bit of a distraction from the everyday world, and that's what sports provides us. And we're lucky enough to make a living from doing it. I'm excited that sports is back. I'm excited that there's going to be actual things to fight over. That's not life and death. And it's I think the Indians and Pirates play tonight, exhibition again.
The NBA's back tonight too.
Congrats.
I'll be watching that just as much as you'll be watching the Pirates, I'm sure.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be at Scene Park tonight. Sure. Given that there's no more rain, I'll be in Struthers
Richie
tonight.
Going?
No,
you'll be fine then.
What?
You'll be fine then.
Oh, rain out Richie, rich out Rainey. But guys, it's been awesome having you here. Not to transition out of here, but it's been awesome having you. The last 3 hours have flown by. We could go 3 more hours easily. And I can't wait till next Wednesday. You guys will take over Running Point again. We'll have more fan interaction. We'll have more opportunities for you guys, and we'll have more giveaways here on Running Point. But that's going to do it for today. Don't go far, guys. It's going to be the Power Hour coming from 3 to 4. Quinn and I are going to change hats. Probably... I'm going to take my hat off, number one, and Quinn will be over here, I'll be out there, and these guys are going to be on the road. Don't forget, Golden String tonight, Dave O'Malley will be on it. What's that?
7 o'clock.
What's that?
7 to 9.
What's the address one more time?
GoldenStringRadio.org.
7 to 9. Make sure you check him out. And, of course, we'll have all your Scene Park action tonight coming up starting at 5:30 through the rest of the evening. If there's any updates, if there's any rainouts, we will have it available ysnlive.com and check our social media. Until then, I'm DJ Yoakley for the three amigos across the table saying so long, everybody, from Running Point.
Hey, my Ohio friends, it's Mike Ditka, and I know great talent and heart when I see it. I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are average real estate agents, then there are true champions. Kelly Warren is one of those champions, and you have it right there in your own backyard. Kelly outmarkets and outsells every agent in the Mahoning Valley. If Kelly can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, Kelly will buy it. Get your home sold. Call Kelly Warren today at 717-2689 or go online to kellysold.com and start packing.
You can feel it. Baird Brothers' traditional craftsmanship. You can see it. Baird Brothers' timeless style. And you can afford it. And find everything at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is real hardwood, yet beautifully affordable. Floors, moldings, interior doors, bar rails, and stair parts. All within your means and without a care. Start at BairdBrothers.com.